and Twitch and anywhere where podcasts are
Oh,
sold.
oh my! Is that a cork?
Whoa, what's
Oh,
in there, Eric?
It's just my usual Belgian.
The triple threat?
Triple. Hmm.
Oh, but you got it in a big bottle tonight, not in. Or does it always come in
Yeah.
the big bottles?
I've done this plenty
Yeah,
of times.
yeah, yeah. And you're not really drinking unless you grab it by the neck. You got to grab it by the neck like a pirate.
Hmm.
That's really what makes it work.
And then
yeah.
throw it against the wall.
Yeah, right. It's
Yeah,
a,
take one swig and throw it a completely full bottle against the wall.
it's a pirate's life for Eric. Oh man, I'm surprised it's working. I didn't have us plugged into Caster. Hey, it's working. Internet.
Oh yeah, I can see it. The old
Good, good.
YouTube's rolling.
I'll change our comment moderation so that people can only comment every 10 seconds. So those of you who
Oh.
You got
yeah
to slow that down.
yeah well since we get one comment per show, don't worry too
It's
much.
just me saying hi, everybody.
Yeah, pretty much. So happy Thursday, everybody. Hopefully we've had a good week. Obviously, lots of changes in the country, but we'll get to that later. This
There's
week,
no changes. I don't know what you're talking about.
right?
Nothing has
Nothing,
changed.
nothing to speak
A
of.
lot of counting to be done.
Yeah, we're still
No.
ticking away.
But don't stop counting votes in the states that Trump is winning though. It's only the states where Biden is winning.
Just stop it. Stop it. Just stop the counting. But Neeko, your birthday's next week, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. And so this week was kind of our, let's do something for Neeko week. And
Neeko week.
we watched Grosse Point Blank, 1997, John Cusack and Minnie Driver headliner. Now, I didn't realize that this is your favorite movie.
Oh yeah, this is my all-time favorite movie.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
tell me why. Tell us why.
Well, it was actually a good friend who recommended that I watch it. And so I did. And this was right around the time we were graduating. So, 18 years old,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. Because it did not do very well in theaters. Kind of like a limited release kind of thing. Wasn't a blockbuster. But I watched it, and what gets me even to today is just the interesting viewpoint on society from the movie. So the quick synopsis of Grosse Point Blank is Martin Blank is a professional killer who gets invited to his 10-year high school reunion, and
We've all been there.
yeah, we've all felt that way. So he gets invited to his high school reunion, and in the process of doing that, his world kind of collapses in on where professionally there's another hitman played by Dan Aykroyd who kind of wants to form a club because they're kind of constantly running into each other in the professional world.
Mhm.
So I love just I'll cut for a second. I love that this is such you could replace this with any career whatsoever.
Right.
But I love that it's like the professional hitman career. So they're bumping heads and like so he gets this invite, but he also gets a job in his hometown at the same time. So it's this lovely little kismet.
A hit job,
And then
by the way.
yeah, I'm sorry, yes,
Yeah.
it's a contract that he gets. And what you come to find out is that he mysteriously left on like prom night his senior year. No one has seen him for 10 years. So it's him rediscovering his entire life that he just like walked away
Mhm.
from. And then all the while he's being hunted by Dan Aykroyd's group. Plus Dan Aykroyd rats him out to the NSA to kind of be like the Oswald. They're trying to spin up this anti-terror group. And it's just the shenanigans around all that. But what I love about it the most is that you would think if somebody says to you like, "Oh, I'm a professional killer," and they say this in the movie too, like, "Oh, you must be a psychopath." But
Mhm.
what I love in the movie is that everyone else in the movie is bonkers, and he's like the straightest arrow
Mhm.
out of all of them.
Yeah.
I mean, he goes back and um his girlfriend that he left on prom night is the local DJ at the radio station there. So kind of never left hometown kind of thing, which I know rings true to some of us. And then when he meets up with her again, she's obviously shell shocked, but there's a scene where she like basically turns into like a 17-year-old girl again. She's like running around and jumping around her room and stuff like that. And it's just that's what gets me is like the pacing of this movie is so good.
Yeah.
And then the dialogue in relation to the concept of a professional killer is so good too, because he tells people, they ask him, and every single time he does it, there's always this amazing little quippy response like, so do you get dental with that? Or like, is it,
Right.
or like, are you guys hiring? And I love that everyone's just like, oh yeah, sure. And then they smart ass him back.
Yeah.
But he's like, he's being serious. He's
Yeah.
being straight line serious. And that's what it is. Like I said, that's all the stuff that just gets me is that I think a lot of it is so extremely relatable if you just remove what his actual job is.
Right.
But like you get old, and he obviously plays the role of somebody who left their hometown, but they go back to the hometown. There's people who never left. You know, there's people that he meets that are married and have kids, and then some guys are like training for Greco wrestling, and it's just this like weird cornucopia of life, all surrounding his purpose to be back in town. And yeah, and just like the nice little like dialogue stuff that isn't like Kevin Smith-esque, where it's just like really sharp, super long dialogue of jokes. It's just these tiny little quips here and there. Or like there's a scene where he rescues his target, who ends up being his girlfriend's father, that he doesn't know this whole time. He never looks at the dossier, so he has no idea. And he says like, I'm either in love with your daughter or I have a newfound lease on life. And then it cuts to Dan Aykroyd as they're chasing him in the vehicle because they just tried to kill him, saying that guy, he either loves that guy's daughter, and so they repeating the lines. There's all just this little quirkiness around it, and that's why I love it so much. It just, I don't know, it just doesn't ring false to me.
Right.
I don't know. It's like it's super relatable, but it really shouldn't be because I'm not a professional killer. Wait, so
Oh, aren't you?
yeah, it's just I don't know. That's what I don't know. It just rings so honest for some reason. I don't know. It's kind of like the movie Nebraska with man,
Bruce Stern.
yeah, Bruce Stern and Will Forte in black and white about his father gets one of those scam letters in the mail that is like from a publisher's clearinghouse. It says like, oh, you've won $1 million. And his father kind of has like a little bit of dementia setting in. So he just starts walking to like Des Moines, Iowa or something like that to collect the money. And it's about him going with his dad, but all along the way, he walks to a couple of small towns in Nebraska and stuff like that. So it kind of rings true a little bit. And it's kind of like our growing up, our hometown, that kind of stuff that like not quite so Midwest, just that like Midwestern plains kind of life. So I don't know, man. It's just, and I think the other thing too is that this is also in the line with the movies where the soundtrack is its own character in the movie. Like the music in this movie is so good, and not mainstream per se either. And it just fits for me. It just cycles right in to the tone of the movie so well. Yeah, I could watch it over and over and over.
It's its own little time capsule in and of itself. It was weird at first because I hadn't seen it in a long time, and it starts off with them going to their 10-year high school reunion, and I was just, which was trippy for me at first because like Cusack's older than we are. We just hit our 20th. So I was just like a little weirded out by the movie at first. I was like, wait, how is he? And then they're like, oh, well, they graduated in 1986. Okay, I get it. Like, I get why it's set up like this. But it's an interesting movie because it's so well written, and it kind of it's a not as sexy John Wick, you know, because it's got the whole guild of killers, and but it's a comedy, and but the action scenes are great, and they're, you know, pretty legit, and but the writer and director didn't really do anything else other than like this is like the movie really that either of them really did, which is really interesting because from watching it, I would have thought that it was like written and directed by Dan Aykroyd at least, you know, because of how good it was, how solid it was. And he's great. And I wish
you've seen Nothing But Trouble, you would expect nothing less.
True. I just think that Dan Aykroyd's one of the best parts of the movie because he pops up and he's so. I think it's interesting when you see an actor who does usually wear all the hats as like directors and writers and producers. When they're just an actor, there's a different vibe to their performance, and it's just
they can go a little deeper,
cool.
right? Because they don't have to worry about the logistics of the movie, of a rewrite, or did we get the dailies, or they don't have to worry about the business of it.
Yeah, just
They
roll
can just
in,
focus on
enjoy
their
it.
character.
Yeah.
Yeah, Aykroyd, like for me, because I totally forgot he was in it, and when he first popped up, I'm like, oh god, because it seems like doing that is a little bit of a stretch for Aykroyd,
Hmm.
like being a badass killer.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, he did it. Like he did it fairly convincingly.
Yeah, he is menacing.
Mm-hmm.
You go, okay, yeah, this
Yeah.
guy, but like in a well cast way where he's menacing, but it's also a little bit of a light tone, and
Hmm.
he's playing two things at once, where it's like, oh, it's kind of funny, and he's kind of being like, hey, buddy, and also
Yeah.
like, I really want to kill you if you don't go along with me.
Hmm.
Yeah.
You buy all of it.
The flat top is amazing, though. The flat
the,
top haircut,
the
I
cop
love
cut.
it. Yeah. So that was an interesting thing too. So Cusack and Minnie Driver were obviously in one version of their primes as actors at that time.
Oh
They
yeah,
were like
Cusick,
mega
he
stars at
was
that
on
time.
his way up.
Yeah, because
And
I think
I
that they
never,
still got
Was she
better, and they
yet?
still. Yeah, I think she was on the way up. It
On
was
the
in that.
way,
Yeah, it was in that
because when
Sandra
was
Bullock
Goodwill
sort of
Hunting?
era of things going.
I don't
Uh,
remember her being in any other movie besides this one.
she's in Goodwill Hunting. That's the next big
Oh,
one.
is it?
Right.
Yeah.
And she's
Maybe
she
has-
makes a cameo in a Bond film with Pierce Brosnan. Shoot, it's the one. It's the one after Goldeneye, where
Tomorrow Never Dies or
Tomorrow?
whatever.
yeah,
Tomorrow Never Dies,
she
yeah.
she plays the Russian lounge singer when Bond goes to the guy who runs the caviar factory.
mhm.
He goes
Mhm.
down to his like private little bar or whatever, and then there's a girl singing "Stand by Your Man" in like really bad Russian. That's Minnie
Mhm.
Driver.
Nice.
Really?
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
love it. I'm looking at the other stuff that she was in at the time. Yeah, you're right. It says that she was in Goldeneye.
Was it? It might have been Goldeneye
Yeah.
where it. Anyway, it's the scene with
Yeah.
Pierce Brosnan where he meets the Russian like import export guy who's kind of like the
Oh
you
yeah.
get it, I got it kind of guy.
Hmm.
Where the giant saw
Yes.
chopped the car in half. Yeah,
Yeah.
around
Yeah.
that point.
The tree trimmer, yeah, it comes, yeah, it cuts
Mhm.
the car in half.
But yeah, it's interesting
Right
because
on
you
a
had
helicopter.
Sleepers around that time, which is one, and Goodwill Hunting, of course. But then I feel like, I mean, because she just in my mind is just has just always been kind of famous, and I don't know. I guess not a lot of these movies really like hit, but she was in that show with Eddie Izzard, The Riches.
Yep.
I think they only did maybe a season or two, or maybe just one season. But she was great in that. But she was
Mm.
like the type of actor that she is in this movie was to me like like the quintessential like mid '90s girl, like
Mhm.
total girl next door, super quirky, super goofy, like can totally
Mhm.
hold her own, and was sort of like her own. It wasn't. It was by no means like damsel in distress, but there was also this super like aloof quirkiness about her that I think we found attractive about women in that '90s era, like Hollywood sort of thing. Or act, as actors like watching them on screen. So it was like when I was watching the performance, I was like, wow, this is like quintessential that era
Well, and
acting right
it
there.
was super good too because that phenomenon that she does a great job with is a real thing. So like you act, you know how they always say that you act different around your parents than you do like your teacher or your
Mhm.
friends, right? As you can see it, like literally the minute she starts to reconnect with his character, she's an 18-year-old girl again.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And even all his friends are like, a successful real estate agent and a this and a this and a this. But then as soon as they all get back together, they immediately revert
Yeah.
back to the old, like I was the popular kid, I wasn't, like, and it's really good because it's completely honest.
Yeah.
Like that is absolutely something that happens. I remember we had a classmate that well, she's not gonna watch. We had a classmate that ended up being, because my sister is 7 years younger than me, so she ended up being my sister's teacher in high school. So she attended my sister's high school
Oh, wow.
graduation. Yeah, she attended my sister's high school graduation, and I was like, "Oh, hey, blah blah blah," and my sister was like, "Oh, right, this is Mrs. Whatever." Like, no, it's not. Nope,
That's
no,
funny.
it's not. Definitely not.
But that's why the movie definitely hits differently now than it would have 10 years ago or even when it came out, is because now at 20 years later, it all feels totally different. Like the whole, and especially because I actually live in our hometown now, just the idea, that whole idea of the nerd, the jock, or who stayed and who didn't, and
Yeah.
who's gone off to do careers and this and that. Because for most of us at this point now, it's all either had kids. Some of our classmates or kids are going off to college. They're almost empty nesters.
Right.
Or we've been through at least an iteration of marriage,
Sure.
things like that. So like we've been through sort of like a life cycle already now. So it
Right.
definitely hit different than it had before. I love though how many famous people are in this movie who were definitely not famous then, like Piven
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
and Hank Azaria. And then there's that one dude who's in he's in Band of Brothers, which actually was like in 2000, so it wasn't that far after this. But he's on a cop show, I think. He's the guy who plays the dude who wants to fight Cusack at the
Oh,
end.
the
But
BMW Bobby
yeah,
Beamer.
God,
yeah,
he's a
yeah.
He's in Walking Dead in the
Oh,
early
is that what it
seasons
is?
of Walking
Okay.
Dead too. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He's one of those dudes
He played Walking.
Thank you.
who played dead.
He plays more or less the same character
remember.
that he
You're gonna
does in
have
this
to turn
movie.
it up, Eric.
Yeah.
Turn it up. Let's go.
I know.
Let's do this. I'll have to find him.
Yeah,
for-
and then like
Just
Jenna
started.
Jenna Elfman
Yeah.
is in it. Um
Who?
and
She was?
yeah, Jenna
Who?
Elfman plays the girl in the
Who's
neck
that
brace.
blonde lady, right?
Oh.
Oh, that's Jenna Elfman. I was
That's
trying to
Jenna
figure it out.
Elfman.
I was like, I know she's familiar.
What is
Yep.
it, Jenna Elfman? What does she do?
Jenna
What
Elfman
is a
was in
Jenna
like
Elfman?
she was in
Dharma and Greg, gotcha.
Dharma and Greg, right.
This isn't a little aside, but I hope you guys saw it. Did you notice when he first goes back to his childhood home, aka the convenience store, and he's standing by the coolers? Did you guys see that little thing that was above his right shoulder? Zima.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Our sponsor?
Yeah.
That's insane.
Zima in the drink cooler.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
that's amazing. I didn't even notice that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Zima's in the cooler.
can't believe I missed it.
Well
Yeah.
done.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Well,
and
there
it
was
also
another.
the so we talked about another movie where how some movies from our childhood would just fail because of technology,
Right.
but this movie he's got a cell phone, he's got a computer, he's got a laptop. What's
Mhm.
great about it though is even though it is very very dated, the nature of his business, it's more feasible that you would have some outdated technology so that you can just like trash and burn it if you need to,
Mhm.
versus like walking around with a $5,000 laptop and like all these cell phones. He's basically just walking around with like burner phones all
Right.
the time.
Right.
And so it's like, even though the technology is very dated, it's not so completely out of character, because think about the stuff you would need to set up like these cryptic networks, or that like that kind of stuff, so you
No,
can't
I
be
don't know.
right. Well, yes, you would, but stuff that if you needed to burn it, it's like you're out $250, not thousands. So it's super. And then Joan Cusack in this movie is awesome as well as his assistant. I love the scene where she's on the phone talking to obviously like a neighbor about making soup, and she's like, "No, hold on a second,
Mhm.
Amelia," and it's a distributor, and she just tears into him
Yeah.
about getting the ammo there. She's like, "Well, I don't give a goddamn," and just goes off, and then hear like the little boop. It's like, "Amelia, oh yeah, okay, great, yeah, no, you just have to add vegetables. It's a stock."
No, but then she gets equally angry at the
Yeah.
housekeeper or whoever she's talking to about how
Yeah.
she's like, "It's just a soup."
Yeah.
Dude, Joan Cusack I mean, she's amazing, but she's particularly amazing in movies she's been in with her brother. It's like that movie
Oh, yeah.
and High Fidelity.
Oh yeah.
The we should watch High Fidelity sometime for this, but there's a line
Yeah,
that she says that I say in my mind all the time. Like there's certain movie lines that just get stuck in my brain.
Oh, yeah.
And it's the scene in High Fidelity when Cusack's girlfriend is talking about how she had an abortion and didn't tell anybody. But she hasn't. But we know that they're having that conversation, but we don't know what she just said because the scene just cuts to Cusack's face, and Joan just goes, "That is shocking, shocking." It's just the way that she delivers. It's like
Yeah.
it's so
Acting.
brilliant. Yeah, and she's
Yeah,
so
her
good in
voice.
this movie. She's so good. Like I don't even know why she's not in every movie all the time because she's just amazing.
She has the who's Peppermint Patty's like the
Oh,
character that's with Peppermint Patty that's always like, "Yes, sir. Hi,
Yeah.
sir." I feel like she was
Yeah.
modeling her character kind of on
Mhm.
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And
I
it's very good.
I think
Definitely.
one of my favorite moments of this movie is like near the end when he's like, "Are we out of business yet?" She's like, "I'm closing up the office," and she's
Yeah.
just dousing it in gasoline. And he's like,
Right.
"Okay, well, when this is over, I'll find you." She goes, "Wait, what? Why? Find me? Why?" She's like,
yeah.
"No, no, no, not like that."
Yeah.
But it was just so funny. She goes to terror so quick.
Yeah.
Right. What do you mean find me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do that with Alan Arkin, which Alan Arkin is in this movie too,
Yeah.
as the
He's
the
great.
psychiatrist, where they're talking. He's like, "I'm anxious. I'm very anxious. I'm emotionally involved with you." He's like, "What do you mean?" It's like, "Well, you told me what you do for a living, and I'm very
I'm
scared of
scared
you."
of you. Yeah.
And then they're kind of talking about not working together, and he's like, "Well, I know where you live." Like,
Yeah.
no, see, you can't
You
do that
find
Yeah.
because that makes me very anxious.
It was so
Very
funny, like
anxious.
at the end when he calls, like, I just wanna let you know that you're fired because I don't think you're a very effective therapist
Yeah.
And he,
and you're not helping at all. It just cuts it. He's just beating the shit out of his answering machine.
Yeah.
Trying to get his answer. He doesn't know how to silence
Yeah.
his answer machine while
During a
someone is
conference.
visiting
Yeah.
him, and he's
Yeah.
trying. Yeah.
I'll be honest, like I haven't seen this movie in 15 years at least probably. And I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. I'll watch this movie. And I'm like smiling all the time. I was like, I forgot how
Mhm.
good this movie
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Like it's smart, it's funny. I don't know, but I love John Cusack. I think
Mhm.
he's severely underrated.
The whole cast is weirdly is just so brilliant. I mean,
Yeah.
Piven's amazing in it. Just
yep,
his little
Yeah.
breakdown in the car when they're just having a normal conversation, everything seems fine, and then he just turns on. He's like 10 years, and he just keeps on saying it. I'm like,
it's
dude,
like
you're
slamming
good,
the
man.
car
Yeah,
horn. Yeah,
yeah,
Right. It's one of those things in that moment. Yeah, I was almost taken out of it because I was like, did the script just say 10 years over and over again, and
right.
he's got to now sell that,
Mhm.
and he does, and especially his turn when he has to help his high school friend bury a body,
Right.
go all the way while still wondering, oh, what's this guy do? Oh, he told me he's a murderer. And then at the end, after they've dumped this guy in the incinerator, he's just like, so what's your career? What do you do? He's just so pissed off. Like,
Yeah.
what did you make me just do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
He
he's
just
like the
storms off.
Yeah.
but Cusack's character like is like the most honest person ever because he doesn't lie to
Mhm.
anyone about a single thing the whole
Right.
movie. What do you do? I'm a professional killer.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Everyone
Yeah.
in his life
Yeah.
to the end of the movie knows what he does for a living, or at least everyone we
Yeah.
encounter. His
Yeah.
therapist, his ex-girlfriend, his ex-girlfriend's dad, like all the people in town. Like he just tells
Yeah.
people, and
Yeah.
so when he actually kills someone and they see it, they freak out, and he's just like, I told you what we
Yeah.
want to do. What's the problem? Yeah, it's
yeah, and I,
great.
I love
Like
when because he knows what he's saying sometimes doesn't sound right. Like he mentioned compartmentalizing his type of stuff, but I think there's like three different times where he says something. He's like, no, that didn't sound right. Like because it's a robotic statement, not an
Mhm.
emotional statement. So he's
Right.
like, no,
Right.
no, that doesn't sound right. Let me try again. And then he's got his little
Uh,
one liner of like, if oh, now I'm gonna screw it up. He's like, if I've come to see you, you've done something for me, deserve me to be there, or something
Right.
like that.
Yeah.
yeah, if I show
But
up at your door, you've done something to deserve it. Yeah.
there it is.
See, and that's like a solid. That's a John Wick line.
Yeah.
There's some lines in the movie that you're going. This is not a comedy movie line. It's
Yeah.
solid. It's deserving of. That's why this movie is deserving of a lot of praise because it's just so good. And so and it really holds up. I don't particularly like movies with soundtracks like this one. Um, because there's something about I don't know what it is about that era of music that just bugs me. Um, but the soundtrack to this movie doesn't make the movie dated, and that's what's great about it.
Mhm.
Is it's because it's basically
Right.
because Minnie Driver's character works at a radio station, and so she's playing all '80s music as a
For the 80s
homage to
weekend,
the
yeah.
'80s weekend, yeah, the weekend of the graduates. So it works because it does because nothing there's not even I don't think there's even really any adventure soundtrack to speak of in there. So it doesn't feel
Yeah, I don't
like
think there's action
Oh yeah,
music
no.
yeah, I don't
score.
think there's any score really. So that's why the movie doesn't really get dated. There's no real fashion to speak of. There's suits and things
Mhm.
like that,
Right.
but it's really sort of timeless in a lot of ways. And part of what makes it helps it be timeless is it did use the technology of the day, cell
Yeah.
phones and that kind of thing, and so it didn't seem that weird.
Right, trying to do something. Ooh, let's make up technology,
Yeah,
what we think would work, and then that's what ends up being dated.
yeah,
Right.
exactly. Unlike Idiocracy, which was right around the same time. No, it was 10 years later, I guess, right?
Yeah.
2007.
But yeah.
And for some reason, there's no cell phones and they're using payphones and things like that. So, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, really
Yeah,
good. Really
it's
surprised.
good. Like I use the oh hi when he steps into the bathroom and the federal agents are in there,
Oh, yeah.
and then he's like, "So I'm gonna go downstairs, finish my drink, be back at the walk the lady to the car, be back in about half hour. I'll see you guys there." But I use that oh hi all the time, and I love the "You're a handsome devil. What's your name?" And the first time I saw it, it didn't really catch me what that really meant. But it's when he goes to visit his mother, who is in
Hmm.
severe like Alzheimer's or dementia, and she recognizes him right away, which I think is great. And then immediately is gone. And then they're just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And at the very end, she kind of the nurse spins her around and she's like, "Oh, you're a handsome devil. What's your name?"
Hmm.
And then when he's getting ready to go to the prom or to the dance, the reunion dance, or whatever, he says that to himself in the mirror. And
Yeah.
then it's
Hmm.
like, it's I like that. I like that. I'm not mad
Yeah,
at that.
it's good. It's a good
Yeah,
moment.
there's
It
a
did
lot.
take me a second. And again, probably in the rewatch, it hits better because at first he goes home and he goes to school, and he sees an
Yeah.
old teacher, and
Hmm.
he's like, "Well, I'm gonna go to my house, or I'm going home," you know. And she does she say something, or she
She's
just
like,
give him
"Oh,
a
are
look?
you?" And she's
Oh,
like,
are
"Oh,
you
really?" Or
right?
something. Yeah.
And then he drives. I think it's playing "Live and Let Die" by
Yep.
Guns N' Roses, the cover, um, and and he looks, and I was kind of confused at first because he looks and he's just staring at a convenience store, and then he walks in. He's just like goes up to the guy. He's like, "How long have you worked here?"
Yeah. What are you
"A
doing
month."
here?
"What are you
Yeah,
doing
Yeah.
here? Why are you here?"
yeah,
And freaking out. And I was
So
like, "What?
good.
yeah,
Oh, this is where his house stood.
yeah.
It's
Did you notice
been
that
torn down.
it was
Now it's a
playing "Live and
convenience
Let
store."
Die" while he was driving there? But when he walked into the convenience store, it was like the
Mhm.
elevator music version of "Live and
Yeah.
Hmm.
Let Die."
Doo, 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 doo,
Yeah.
doo, 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 doo. Yep.
I love the
So good.
guy who works at the convenience store too, because that's some of my favorite stuff in movies. Number one, when extras look at the camera, like my favorite
Yep.
thing ever. And then number two is when like the convenience store dude is always stupid, can't talk, and is never someone who became famous. It's just never a thing. So I love it because he played it so perfectly, and that's probably the one movie that poor guy has been in. I mean, he definitely
Probably.
sells
Yeah.
insurance
I wanted
somewhere
to
in the
look it up to
Midwest
see
now.
if it was like I've never done it before, and I don't know what the director or writer of this movie was. I'm wondering if that was like a self insert of like the director cameo or something like
Oh,
that.
let
But
me look him
there's
up
a
here.
fun part about that. So the second time he goes back to the convenience store just to kind of like recoup himself, is when the assassin attacks and it gets blown up. But it always makes me laugh too because knowing the logistics how this scene works is they do like the hero dive into the grass and then debris starts to fall on them, and there's a scene where John Cusack looks up like, "Don't you dare hit me with that," and then
Hmm.
some guy like whips a milk carton right into the clerk's nuts.
Yeah,
And it's not like oh I fell, no, it's somebody targeted his balls with a milk
nice.
carton. And it's like once I've seen it I can
Is there
never
a
not
rock
look
in
at.
it? That's hard to.
Right.
I don't know, but
I
it
guess there
just
could be full milk in it.
he pegs him in the junk
That's funny.
with it. It's real funny.
Oh, so
But
this
yeah,
is funny.
Cusack does this look up like, "Don't you dare throw that at me," and then just wow.
That's why Cusack was probably like, "Okay, so I'm gonna land on my stomach
Right, right,
because
yeah.
you guys are gonna nail me in the nuts."
Right. So Ultimart Carl is the character's name, and the guy is
Okay.
actually a location manager now.
Oh.
Yeah.
Nice.
So in 2000, he was the assistant location
That's
manager for
ironic.
Judging Amy, and now he's the location manager for This Is Us. So there we go.
Good
Yeah,
on
he
him.
found a good career. Good.
Look
Yeah.
what you did with yourself.
Yeah, good for him. Yeah,
He
well
found a
done,
new
sir.
job. So
Yeah.
you're no
Yeah.
longer
He
pissed off.
located.
Yeah.
a
You
new
gotta
career.
see, is This Is Us is that ABC?
That's one of the
NBC?
three.
I'm gonna say we're gonna have to talk to you, Brian. You should find Ultimate Carl and get a selfie with him for us.
Yeah, right.
So
Just
he
walk-
doesn't-
I walk up to him, what are
see
you
if he's
doing here?
around. Yeah.
How long have you worked here?
How long have you worked here?
Go to prop store, find his uniform, and
Oh,
then
yeah.
buy it, and then take it to him and make him put
Yeah.
it
Make
on.
him wear it.
Here, can you hold on? Can you put this on first?
Dance monkey.
How long have you been here?
What are you doing here? No. What's done is done. It's fine.
Well, then when the place is blown up, Cusack barely saves him. He runs out of the building, and then it's like, he kind of like smacked the kid, and he's like, "No, come on, get out!"
Yeah.
Throws him out, and then and does he say something to the guy? Because the guy's just like, "Great,
He
now I
said-
gotta find a new job."
Yeah, he said that. If you ask me what my favorite part, there's a lot of favorite parts, but that part I laughed out loud, and I don't do that because he said, he goes, "You okay?" He goes, "No, I'm hurt and I'm pissed, and I gotta find a new job."
I just
So great.
walks away.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's just like, great.
yeah. I love it.
Thanks
He
a
should have been a
lot.
cartoon character. It was so good.
Well,
Yeah.
and two, yeah, it is very cartoony where they do the classic. He's playing the video game. He's on the.
Yes.
He's playing an arcade game, and
He's
he's
playing
got
Doom. Yeah.
he's got his headphones in, playing loud music while the shootout's happening behind him, and he's oblivious. of
Yeah.
it.
There's popcorn
that
and stuff
level.
flying all around behind him. All this debris in the air. Yeah.
Which is like a brilliant little.
And endless. How many rounds were in Cusack's guns?
Yeah,
I don't
all
know
of
if I
them.
saw him reload.
Yeah.
There were maybe 70 rounds because at the beginning I feel like he had RoboCop's Berettas
Yeah,
with his.
he's just that.
Did you notice
fast.
everyone was dual gun?
Yeah,
Like Dan Aykroyd, yeah, everyone's double gun.
Yeah,
the
there's
end.
some reloading later.
I'm always obsessed with, and you know this, Brian, as much as we've worked together. Like I get obsessed with continuity, and then you're always like, you will get to the point where you're just like, Scorsese doesn't care that much about it. And it's like I saw that in this movie too. There was a moment where Cusack's firing, and then they do the sound effect of his guns being out, but one of them
Yeah.
was not out, and it was just like it was fine. Cut to Aykroyd, cut back to Cusack. Oh, now it's out, and I was just like, all right.
Yeah.
fine,
The
you
slide
guys.
is back. Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of times there was no muzzle flashes on Cusack's guns.
Oh yeah.
Did you notice that?
Some of those blanks didn't fire.
Yeah.
There's a couple of continuity. There's a big
Not
one
CGI,
where
yeah.
they when we were talking about the Ultimart, so they blow up the Ultimart, and then they show this kind of like far, like 3/4 away shot. It's on fire and stuff, but there's no sign. And then he talks to the guy about finding a new job. And then when they cut back, that's when the Ultimart site it burns and falls off.
Oh,
so it's like
nice.
they got those two things
Yeah, crisscross.
backwards. There's actually not a lot of hiccups in here. I mean, there's some standard stuff where like
Yeah.
people's hats get turned a little bit, like left and right. There's one where like mini
It's the wind.
drivers, right? Her
Right.
when they're in the radio station for the first time, she's wearing like a necklace that just kind of it's a necklace and it's a hanging pendant, and that just kind of keeps moving all over the
Mhm.
place, which is like fine. And then
Ghosts.
there's when he's
I like
taking
you have
the
an
body
explanation for all this.
Yeah. when they're taking the body
Could be
down
an
the
asshole
stairs.
director. It was ghosts. Duh. You didn't pick up on poltergeist throughout this movie? I dropped hints all over.
Yeah. Apparently, the writing wasn't that good.
The ghosts of the dead. Yeah, but there's just other little tiny things
Yeah.
about like positioning and stuff that makes sense to frame a shot, but like logistically didn't. Like the last one I'll do is when they're going down the stairs with the body, they're both on the right side of that solid railing, and then when the camera flips to catch them coming down the stairs, they're on two different
Either
sides and then
side.
using it to slide the body. Easily explained with they got to that point and then Cusack just hopped over. But
Yeah.
they don't show him hopping
Nope.
over.
I turned it off and I was steaming. I had to step outside and I was just like, Eric, just
Well,
finish.
see, I'm gonna ask you guys a question.
Okay.
and I'm not being a dick, but I'm just gonna ask this question:
Yeah.
did any of that make you enjoy the movie less?
Oh, absolutely not.
No.
Well,
No.
I didn't.
Exactly.
So I think that's more of a Neeko absorbing this movie many times
Yeah.
thing.
That makes
Yeah.
sense.
Well,
Which is fine.
that's the thing.
That
I
means he loves it.
exactly. No, I killed myself the other day just doing just a 30-second commercial, and uh, in these commercials, I broke two of the major rules that work with kids and dogs, and
Oh God.
yeah, but the kid that we had, um, he was fine for like the first hour, and then it was meltdown city, and he was just like over it and like started crying and this and that. So I never got his coverage because he just wasn't it wasn't going to happen ever.
Yeah.
And the only good takes I have, one of them he's sitting normally, and the other take he's sitting like this. So there was 0% chance for me to like make those two things work without
Yeah.
there being some kind of time passing. So like, yeah, for a 30-second spot, and not to mention that this portion that he was in was probably like 7 seconds of the 30 seconds to try to do that. So I always go back to Brian, we must have had this conversation like at your old apartment doing
3 apartments
platonic.
ago.
Yeah, like when we were shooting, when we were like doing platonic, and we were just, and you were trying to make something work, and eventually, yeah, the conversation just went to like, there's a lot of continuity errors in Casino, so we'll
Yeah.
just roll with it. Yeah. And so I always kind of go back to that, like,
Yeah. I mean, well, you gonna just do reshoot after reshoot after reshoot.
Yeah.
At some point, you have to go.
yeah,
It's in the
Well, yeah,
can.
it's not like
whatever.
we're
Yeah.
wearing
Exactly.
like there's a complete like wardrobe change, or one
Well,
minute he's in like a black caprice and then he's in a red sports car. It's
right.
nothing insane like that. It's these tiny little things that
Yeah.
you could walk away with like, oh, it's just a cut. And so yeah, he hops over the rail, or he like there's another stupid one where like the pills when they're eating breakfast and they order the two omelets or whatever, there's like 5 pills on the table that just kind of keep moving, and it's like they're having a conversation. You could easily be bumping them like in a real practical thing. He could easily just be putting his hand down and bumping it, but people are like, no, it's a continuity.
Well,
There
there's
were
two
7 pills.
two big ones in movies that always stood out to me. One is always the Braveheart one, right? Because the Braveheart, the scene where the Scottish are charging the British on foot. I think it might be like the first
Yeah.
main battle in the movie.
Yeah.
And go watch it. Excuse me, it's
Right.
amazing. But it go where they're running, and William Wallace, Mel Gibson's character, has his sword,
Sword. Yeah.
and
his
then in the
broad-
next
yeah,
one
his
he's
clay-
reaching back and grabbing his sword, and then in the next one it's an axe, and then in the next cut there's nothing. And so I remember even seeing it when it first came out. I think I watched it on VHS, uh, and yeah, I was just like, wait, what's going on? That one was
And then he
real
had the
blaring.
inner tube with like the duck
Yeah.
Yeah.
running,
Right.
and then it cuts back.
And
He
then
just
he's
kept
holding a
throwing stuff
baby.
away.
Yeah.
He's
He's
got.
like, no, I don't like this sword. I'll grab my
yeah.
other one. Now I want an axe. Now
And
it's
then
too heavy to
Brendan
carry.
Gleeson's on his
Got-
back.
Yeah, and he's wearing boxers with little hearts on them. Yep.
It's a little crazy. But then the other weird one, a more recent movie, was Mr. and Mrs. Smith, where Brad Pitt's character drives at the beginning of the movie this really like was when Cadillac decided to try to be cool again, and so they came up with kind of like a sports car type Cadillac, and he's got that car, and then the next scene it's an old like police car Caprice, still black, and like nothing ever changed. He gets into it, but in that sequence the car gets blown up and destroyed, and so I don't know. You know that they probably did it for that reason, for like budgetary reasons, but it was
Yeah.
just a very, very weird
Hmm.
shift where you're just like,
Yeah.
we know this was product placement, and now it's like,
Right. Can
now
you
it's
not place the product
yeah.
in some other way?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now it's just an old cop car that you spray painted. So this is weird.
Yeah.
That's
That's
like
weird.
who's the
That's really
Red
weird.
Letter Media guys? Whenever they watch like horrible, cheap movies, And whenever they see like some really crappy car, they know they're like, it's gonna get blown up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they put this car, this crappy
Yeah.
old junky thing in this movie, it's gonna blow up or at least roll over
Mhm.
something.
Yeah, it's about to get
Definitely.
toasted. Yeah.
Definitely. Any favorite moments, guys?
I have a couple
Uh,
plot nitpicks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, go
Really?
ahead.
Randomly,
Please.
well, it is a plot thing, and maybe it's supposed to be playing with the audience, but there's the one thing, which is the dude that he went to school with, that is the security for the ritzy neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yep. Nathaniel.
And they,
Or no, not Nathaniel. Anyway, yeah. I know what
yeah.
you're talking
So
about.
this guy, yeah, Piven showing, he goes along with Piven while Cusack does while he's showing a house to a couple,
Mhm.
big expensive house, and because Cusack and because they're all on the property, this like rent a cop dude shows up. And it's like, oh, it's you guys. Oh, I mean, if I didn't know who you guys were, you would have been in trouble. So they're planting the seed that this character will shoot somebody that he doesn't recognize if they're on a certain premises, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, I kept that in my head the whole time. I was like,
Huh.
okay, they're planting the seed, and they don't ever pay it. They even go as far as he's at the reunion, this character, and he's like shows his gun
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
Cusack, and Cusack's like, oh, and so I'm like,
Waiting for
twice
him.
now you've planted the seed that this guy is going to come in handy. So I thought this guy was going to save the day and kill Dan Aykroyd
Yeah. Hmm.
just out of the blue because he's some idiot that thinks that's his job. That didn't happen.
You know what's
It's
funny
fine.
though?
Oh,
Because
kind of
that's
like
such
the Mr. Magoo rescue.
Right.
yeah, that's
Mhm.
such
I was waiting for
obvious
that.
foreshadowing too. And it's funny because when I was watching it, I thought that same thing when that scene happened on the lawn of the house. But
Mhm.
then knowing the movie, I knew that he never comes back, and I totally thought that was weird. I was like, "This is kind of weird. He never comes back." I wonder if he did in the original like script, and I
Oh, and then
wonder
they
if
cut it
Or if
out.
they
it
even
was
shot
like,
it.
yeah, I wonder if it was like a location, like a timing thing, where they're just like, let's
Well,
just have Cusack crush him with
because
the
do
TV.
they end up? Okay, so Mini Driver's her dad's house.
Yep.
I feel like it changes because when the shooting is happening and he's trying to save their lives,
Hmm.
were they always in this giant
Oh, it's a
mansion
mansion.
house?
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
huge mansion. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and so again, I thought like it looked very similar to that house that Jeremy Piven was showing.
Oh,
So
interesting.
again, I felt visually
Gotcha.
like it was all tying it back to that
Hmm.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
thing.
I think that's just the
They're
style of home because like
back in the neighborhood.
he takes him to the house that he's trying to sell. They have that interaction. And then he's like, "Hey, if you got a minute, I don't pit my friends, but I want to show you a property." And then he drives him to Mini Driver's house, which is like behind a gated fence and whatever.
Okay.
You're onto something with that point because there's another line that is spoken where he they're walking in together to go into the reunion, and the Mini Driver says, "I should have worn a skirt," and he says, "I should have brought my gun." And she says, "What?" He's like, "We're gonna have fun." So
We're
they
gonna have
definitely
fun.
it absolutely could have been
Yeah.
one of those things where yes, maybe that guy does like slide Cusack the
Mhm.
gun to save him. But then I'm wondering if somebody did look at that and say like, well, you can't just fire a gun in a school and not have people freak out. But then it also introduced that
Well, not in
fun
that
little.
time. That was rare. Now it's
Oh
whatever.
yeah,
It
right.
happens all the
But
time.
I think
Fake
I
news.
think what it opened up though was the line where the lawyer Ken gives him the pen, and then he uses that to kill him. And then there's even a point where they're like, "Hey, did you get a pen from Ken?" And they make the joke,
I
and then he
like
uses it,
that.
and then at the
Yeah.
end he's like, "Hey, Ken, thanks for the pen." He's like, "Oh yeah, sure, whatever."
Uh-huh.
Like not even real.
Thanks
So
for the pen. Like
I
it
think
literally saved my life. You giving me your stupid
yeah,
pen.
Yeah.
I think they could have had the gun because, like I said, that line in there of "I should have brought my gun." That's right.
Mhm.
That feeds right
It's
into that. And then when that
setting
kid
that
shows up,
character
like
up.
he's like,
Mhm.
"Are you freaking out? Freaking out? Look at this!" And he pulls his gun out, and he's
Yeah.
like, "That is not like." He's just like, "Oh God." So it could have been entirely possible that yes, that was there, and then somebody kind of like in a recycle was like, "Ah, we really
Right.
shouldn't."
let's not have Barney Fife be involved in this in any way.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's that.
That's fair.
Which
That's
again,
fair.
I'm fine with like a red herring. Even
Yeah.
if you want to look for it, it
Yeah.
doesn't happen. It's fine. But the other thing is the Hank Azaria and his partner who work for the government. Are they spooks or NSA, whatever they are?
The NSA.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So it's setting up, and they even play with the gray area of, are they good guys, are they bad guys? They themselves have the conversation. No, we're good guys as long as we wait for the bad guy to kill a good person and then we kill the bad guy, then we're
Right.
good guys, right?
Right.
If
Right.
we
Right.
kill the good guy for the bad guy so we can go kill the
Right.
bad guy, then we're bad guys. So it's setting up this whole thing that they're the good guys, even though Aykroyd's hired them and they know he's a killer, whatever. But when it gets to the end, the big shootout at the end, where Aykroyd and his goons are trying to take out the target,
Dad.
Mini
Yeah.
Driver's dad, those two characters bust in, and both Cusack and Dan Aykroyd blow them away.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Well,
Right.
I think
And
so.
I'm like, why would Cusack? I feel like it's trying to play with him as, well, I do it for money, but there's no money in him killing those guys.
Right.
Now they show up and it looks like they're going to shoot both of them,
Right. That's
which
like
I
that's
don't
a
get
that's a
either,
self-defense type thing. I think the two
because
officers,
the target hasn't been killed, so
but
no
they, but I don't think
crime
they
has been
know that
committed.
though.
They just hear shooting.
Right. They see, because they never really say like how they got there. So I
Mhm.
think they, Grosse is the name of Aykroyd's character. Grosse basically tips him off that this is the target, this is happening, and then they might have been, because like Grosse was dicking with them. They might have been like, listen, we don't care who kills dad, as long as we kill the guy who killed dad, then we're the good guys, right? So I
Mhm.
think they know where the location is. They hear all this shooting. I think they just
It's
assume that it's
Pandalarium.
occurred. Yeah, they assume that it's occurred, but they happen to bust in on professional killers who are just like, we don't. You guys are ancillary. I don't need you. So yeah, they gun them down. My issue with the two agents is when she's reading their like backgrounds and profiles. Hank Azaria is like a red shirt running back for like Notre Dame or some
Yeah.
nonsense.
Love
And
it.
then the other guy is like a 4-time All-American wrestler. He weighs 40 pounds.
Yeah.
It's
It-
like,
it
there's
really
no way
could've-
that guy was a collegiate All-American wrestler. I barely believe Hank Azaria was a red shirt tailback.
It definitely could have
college.
been the other way. They could have done that
Right,
too.
right.
Yeah.
It's one of those, like, they gave him these like elaborate backgrounds, but it's like, no.
Yeah,
And
probably
also, was that guy supposed to be Tim Meadows, but they couldn't get Tim Meadows?
not. Maybe.
Because I
Nope.
feel like they found almost
Almost,
Tim Meadows,
like almost Don
but it
Cheadle.
wasn't. Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, the other. That's funny. Brian, did you freeze up? I think Brian froze up.
I think we lost Brian. We'd blown
Yeah.
his mind.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah, that plot hole really screwed him up.
Yeah, no, I think the whole agent NSA thing, I think they just kind of scratch on it so that you know that why they're there, but it's not really important to push the story through.
Well,
Other than
I'm not saying
other
it's
than that
important
he's
for the
constantly
plot,
being watched.
but
Yeah.
I feel like it adds something extra to his more nefariousness to Cusack's character. The fact that he just like blows those guys away.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of the movie itself, I went, oh, I bet Hank Azaria and that other guy love that they get to get blown away in a movie, right?
Yeah.
Like that. I went
Oh
there.
yeah, it's
and
like
I can't-
playing a dead body. Like, I get to play the dead body.
Yeah, exactly. So, that's as heavily as I took it. But in terms of plot, I go, we're supposed to look at Cusack not as just this murderous dude,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and then here he is killing the good guys.
Right.
Did I
Yeah,
mess
no,
up
that's
the
a good
names
point.
again?
you did. You flipped the names again.
It's okay. I'm gonna
Ah.
Eric. So I'm gonna do a trick here. I'm gonna put Eric in the.
I'm Brian. What?
I'm gonna put Eric in the waiting room, and then I'm gonna bring you back. And
Oh.
then, how do I go to the waiting room?
Oh,
Eric, can you hear us? If you can hear us, ask to be admitted again.
He's not. It's not showing.
Oh
He's
wait,
here.
there we go. Nope, there we go. I think I can do it because then it'll push
Oh,
you
boy.
guys over. Yeah.
So annoying.
Oh, he
He's
exploded.
gone.
Happening.
He's gone. Oh man, Eric blew up.
Sorry, it's so annoying that keeps happening.
That's all right. I need to get a new wire for. I have my computer hardwired into my modem here just to make the stream a little smoother. So it looks like
My laptop's not hardwired. I should really get a camera for my big machine that's hardwired because I'm getting my internet upgraded tomorrow too.
nice. What do you get?
I'm gonna get like 900 megs.
900?
Yeah,
Yowza!
because of how I have to work.
Wow, that's
We're
crazy.
controlling machines completely remotely, so I need lots
Yeah.
of power.
Is the big boss paying for that, or can you write it off? at
Yeah, I
least,
get a
guess?
stipend every week. Yeah,
Yeah, that's good.
yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. I've got 100, and that's pretty blazy
I've
fast.
got 200, and it works. But I'm like, you know what? I'm getting the stipend. Let's just crank this baby up so we don't have to worry about it. Hopefully,
That's exciting.
Well, yeah, it's 900
yeah.
down, but it's only 4 up. So
Yeah. Right. See, I got 100 up and down, man. It's nice. Yeah.
But I think my cringe moment for this movie was when when they reveal that her dad is the target, and he's just running up the street, and they pull a van literally right in his path, open the door wide open, and stick the gun out.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like, really?
Yeah.
He doesn't see you guys?
It's amazing.
Right,
Like
because
he's not down the. Yeah.
There's the reverse shot. It doesn't look super obvious at first.
Yeah.
And then there's a reverse shot where you see him running and you see there's a white van, door
Yeah.
open.
Yeah.
Yeah,
gun
he's
pointing
not
out.
far away.
Well,
Right.
Literally pulls up, blocks this path. I'm
Yeah.
like, gun.
The worst shot though is when they do the reverse of the car in front of the van, and it's roughly 40 feet away from the van, where Aykroyd could have blown both their heads off in about 4 seconds, and then they could have been out. It was like one of those moments where my first thought was they got maybe half a block like roped off to shoot this scene, and that was it. So they worked with it,
especially for
or
like
they just stole
car
it.
stunt.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, at the very least, I would have at least just I would have parked the car as close to the camera as possible and just create foreground and put that van as far away as possible, because Aykroyd's got this high-powered rifle, this giant scope on it. It's like, well, he could have just killed both of them just right there in that second, except instead he was like, oh, it's blank. I know it's blank. It's like, yeah, you should shoot him. And then the movie's over.
Yeah, kill him.
Yeah.
But I think my favorite moment is just in that when they're eating breakfast and they both have the guns in paper bags.
Yeah.
And like at the end, they both pull them up and draw at each other.
And Aykroyd follows him out with the gun in the paper
with
bag.
The gun,
Like just as obvious as possible. And
Yeah.
Cusack has to he knock the food over? He does something.
He drops his plate and then gets behind the waitress. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then it makes weird noises, so everyone's paying attention.
Yeah.
He gives him the old gorilla grunt.
Yeah.
It's stuff like that is like that's the stuff I love, and that just sinks it in that.
It's great.
Like, can you imagine being the director? Like, okay, so when you back out, I need you just got to impose your will on Dan Aykroyd's character, and Cusack's like, I got it, and then he walks out going, ooh, ooh, ooh. Like,
you think the paper bag thing wasn't in the script? You think maybe the props guy forgot the guns that day?
Right. They didn't have
they're in
guns.
paper bags.
Yeah.
Well, I mean that fits what they're trying to accomplish but it's great because it's so silly, right? It's not like it's tucked into his waistband or anything. He's holding because the NSA agents even make the joke like, oh, Grosser's brown bagging it today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's that stuff that's so it's as John Wicky as possible. It's like Grosse Point Blank is a satire of John Wick before John Wick even existed.
Yeah, 20 years.
Exactly.
It's like John Wick is the reverse satire of Grosse Point Blank.
Mm-hmm. Archer, I feel like all these things. Grosse Point Blank gets probably a ton of credit for being a predecessor.
Is Aykroyd's way of presenting the guild of assassins to him is just great, because it's just it's funny because again, I see it differently. It hit different because they're they're trying to build a business, and he's just like, look, man, like you're a photographer, I'm a photographer. Why are we competing against each other? Why don't we all just form a guild? We up the rates, and we all share in the profits. And it's just like that's what it was. But I love that moment where he's like, where Cusack's kind of like what like a group, and he's like, and Aykroyd's like a club. Like he has this great radio man voice, like a club. You know, come on, kiddo, what do you say? It was almost that Lithgow sort of like, come on, boyo, what do you say, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's trying to pitch it, just not selling it. Cusack's
Like,
just
will
such
there
a
be meetings?
jerk to him.
No meetings. I
Yeah,
hate
no
meetings.
meetings. Yeah.
I think another moment, like you're talking about how like you can pretty much make this any occupation. When he's in the hotel room and she's giving him the files on the three guys he saw. There's Hank Azaria and the other agent, and then the assassin guy with the weirdest face I've ever seen. And he's
Oh, I
like,
know, right?
I recognize the guy. I'm like, oh yeah, for last year at that hit in Budapest, that guy, remember that guy? That guy's an asshole.
Yeah.
And
Right.
he's like just talking
Right.
about fellow like work like coworkers and stuff and competitors.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh, that, and then and we got those two ladies, and Cusack, like he says, oh, the two girls, and he says midget, but he only says like half the word until
Yeah.
Aykroyd's like, yeah, the stabbers, and like, yeah, like the moments in this movie are so good between
Yeah.
the characters. Yeah, between the
I think that
actors.
my favorite moment is that their first interaction with each other, Aykroyd and Cusack, because it comes right after. So Cusack's job, when you introduce to him, he has to take out an assassin who's about to kill some important guy that has his bodyguards. They're coming out of a hotel. And so he kills the guy, and he's like, boom, job over. Okay. And he's packing up. And then Aykroyd shows up and blows all these people away. And it's very comical. And he's just like, blap, blap, blap. And like Cusack's looking back out, like, wait a minute. Oops. And it's just bump, 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 just pumping him full of lead. And so you're like, oh boy, this is a big deal. And then right after that, Aykroyd finds him. They pull up, and he's just like, "Hey, what's up?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the handshake too, because they go in for a handshake, but
Oh yeah,
they
Got
both
one
have their
hand on the
hands on
gun.
their gun, and then
Yeah.
they reach out and do a quick handshake. It's great,
Mhm.
and they do that thing where I call it the Indiana Jones effect, which is something that movies nowadays don't do, where the characters are already fully formed, and you get some backstory, but you don't get a ton on purpose. And I love that, because you don't get a huge backstory. You know that they worked together at one time, and that Aykroyd is apparently probably Cusack's mentor. So and there's that, but they don't belabor it. They don't even talk about what happened between the two of them, why they're not friends anymore. Why they're kind of rivals. And I think that's great. And we also get to see Cusack on other jobs before the Grosse Pointe job. The one where he's dripping the poison into the guy's mouth.
Yeah. That's a James Bond. That's a 007 reference
Oh, is it?
from is it You Only Live Twice. That's when James Bond goes to Japan. The assassins do the same thing where they drip this poison down, and like the girl that he's with rolls over and she gets it and she dies.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's an homage to 007.
Why do his girls always die? What's the deal?
That's just what happens.
Yeah.
The good girl
It's
he
just
sleeps
how it
with
is.
dies,
Yeah.
and then he
Yeah,
has
the
to kill the
innocent
bad
sweet one. Yeah.
one, and then he ends up with the third one always.
That's not very current. It's not a
And
good.
it's funny
What do you
too
mean?
when
That's not current
he
Hollywood.
he goes back to his office after the failed hotel hit, and Joan Cusack is wearing like he even makes
Oh,
a joke
yeah.
about like the Sergeant Pepper
Yeah.
jacket,
Yeah.
but she's like, sir, and he's kind of just wasting time because he doesn't want to talk to her about it, even though he's the boss. He's like, it's like, I know I screwed up, I really don't want to talk about it. So he's just kind of like moving some stuff around on his desk, and then he sits down, he's like flipping through Omni magazine, and she's doing that, like she's holding the next file and kind of peeking into his office like, hello.
Mhm.
And he's like, come in, get in here, what. And then they go into it about the botched job, and she's like, they are unhappy. He's like, they're unhappy, I'm unhappy. His sleep patterns like
Yeah.
just lets into her, and she's like, they mean amends immediately. And he's like, fine. It's like, duh.
And I do like that. Yeah, the whole setup for going to Michigan is he has to make amends because he screwed up
Right.
seemingly another job. Like he keeps buffooning his way through all these
Yeah.
attempted
He
jobs.
keeps having these like mistake hits.
Right.
Yeah.
And so yeah, he has to go. But then that also sets up Aykroyd is getting screwed over, which they've just set up. That Aykroyd's getting pissed off that this competition's screwing everyone over.
Yeah.
And he's going, "What? How did I lose?" Because he was going to have that job, right?
Yep.
Right.
And so Aykroyd goes, "What's and then he thinks, "Oh, blank took the job out from underneath me. Screw this guy. He's done."
Yep.
Yeah. It's a good setup.
Yeah. No, it works, and it works because they're both. It's just their job. They don't have any remorse about the fact that they're gonna kill each other over this one.
Yeah.
This one
That's
gig.
what they do.
Right.
Yeah. That's great. 5 out of 5.
100%.
Yeah.
Come on. I'm jaded.
Honestly, like when I watched it, I was seriously like smiling the whole time. I was
Oh
like,
yeah.
this is a damn good movie. Holy crap.
Yeah. Right from the beginning,
Yeah.
right? I mean, right from
Yeah.
the
Oh, yeah.
outset.
It just
Yeah.
pops off.
Mhm.
Like I said, it
Yeah.
does the thing that I love where it just jumps you into a world and goes.
Yeah.
And right, there's no like, oh, let's go back to when, like, there's no flashback to him leaving her at the house on prom night. There's no flashback to him. He tells stories. He talks about when he's guarding him at the end. He says, like, last year I was in the Gulf doing a thing, just so casually, like just doing a thing. And I walk up over this dune and I saw the sea and it was on fire. And so it's like you get that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
Or he says, like,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Martin,
like
what have you been up
Rutger
to? It's like-
Hauer's Blade Runner speech, kind of like
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, how you doing? Good, good. Yeah, last year I killed the king of Paraguay with a fork. How are you? Just it's that kind of stuff that's
Yeah.
like, I love it. It's
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
just so good.
Well,
Yeah, like
another favorite moment too is in the hallway when Cusack's talking to the guy who's the BMW salesman, super wasted, and for some reason he wants to fight Cusack like the whole time.
Right.
And
He's just that. It's just that guy. It's just that like
That guy.
meathead stereotype.
yeah, who
It's
always
just like,
wants to fight
I'm just
when he
gonna
drinks.
beat everyone up.
But the moment is Cusack. First of all, it's great writing and great acting. Where Cusack, who's the killer, by the way, talks the guy down off the ledge. It's like, do you think there's something going on between us? Like, what's going on with you? Are you okay?
God,
And
there's
then
nothing here.
Yeah, there's
between
nothing
us.
going
Yeah,
on.
you
here.
and I don't exist.
And he pulls out a poem, and he starts reading the poem. And Cusack's like, "Why don't you just skip to the end?" And and there's another line that sticks in my head all the time. He's like, "For a while." He goes, "Man, that's beautiful." For a while. It's just like, this is so good because it's
And
just
then he says,
The pool
You want to
poem
do
is
some
just-
blow?
yeah,
because the poem is just dumb. He's like, I wrote a poem, and
Yeah.
yeah, you're like thinking like, was this his therapist made him write a poem?
Right.
Like, why is this poem exist?
yeah.
Help him
Yeah.
get over whatever demons he's been dealing with. This
Oh, man.
guy,
Yeah.
and it's almost like roses are red, violets are blue
Yeah.
level of dumb.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
surface, and yeah, Cusack's just like, oh man, yeah. How about you skip to the end?
Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
It's
And,
so
and
good.
that's another example of what I was talking about at the very beginning of why I love it is that you hear professional killer, you immediately assume he's gonna be the most screwed up person in this movie.
Yeah.
But you find
Not
out
at
that
all.
he's the most straight arrow one, and everyone else around him is just keeping it together.
Right. Yeah.
because he's
Yeah.
free of emotion for the
Yeah.
most part.
Basically.
he
It's so good.
I love this thing they do with his character. It's kind of subtle, but it's an ongoing thing. It's always like, and it starts with he's trying to kill the guy with poison, and it misses. He's like, ah, shit. So he's got to run down. He's like, shoots him. Was like, why? What I do? Is like, it's not me. You didn't do anything to me.
Yeah.
And he's like, he's got this ongoing thing of like, I'm not a bad guy. I
Yeah.
just get hired to do this. I don't have. It's nothing personal.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and
And
two,
it just
yeah.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I don't. It's a really cool little writer actor thing, and he does it so well.
Mhm.
I don't know. It's just I'm really kind of sad that like this writer and director didn't do more because they're really good.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. Like I'll say it again. I think John Cusack is a fantastic actor, very underrated.
Yeah.
So he did a good job with it. But yeah, I don't. The script is just so good.
Yeah. It's great. They should do a sequel. So what would that be? 96, 2006,
Like
2016.
2016.
So like
his
a
20-year reunion.
40-year
30,
reunion?
30.
Yeah, should do one for 2026. Do a 40-year reunion. How great would that be? He fell into. They
Half
could
of
do
them
it.
are dead.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. It would be great. Just bring everyone back. It'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Cusack even do anything anymore?
I haven't seen him in a long time.
He's in
What was
he's
that
in
horror movie in the hotel room? I feel
Identity.
like that's the last thing. No, it's like 1408 or something.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Well, and he's in some other things like a movie called Cell, and he's got some other tiny little stuff that he's kind of popped up in, but nothing like this, which would have been like first name on the top of the poster kind of thing.
Yeah, it was like
Yeah.
I feel like his career took a dive after
High
2012.
Fidelity. What's that Serendipity movie? I feel like that's where he was still.
Well, see, he's in the show Utopia. What's that on?
That's the new one.
Oh,
That's
right.
on
That's
Apple
Amazon,
TV, I think.
Okay.
Or
It
one
looks
of the
really good.
it's
by
one
the
of the
way.
3 ones.
So he's doing that. But yeah, it's just been a smattering of little movies. I think that he did kind of just exit for a minute. I don't think it was necessarily like a fall from grace. I think he was just kind of over it.
Here, like maybe he wasn't the easiest to work with though, too.
Yeah.
Really?
Well, I mean, he's got some. I'm looking at my shelf. Cusack's in my top 5 male actor area,
Hmm.
but yeah, there's a certain point right where it's either like
Is
you
he
got-
on your list? Sorry.
Yeah.
High
He's-
Fidelity.
Your hall pass list.
yeah. I mean, it's probably right after Hot Tub Time Machine that he was like, I need a break.
Oh, that was
I'm gonna
actually a
need to
really
take
good
a-
movie. Actually,
right.
Yeah,
They
it's
made 2 of
it's
those.
much better than it deserved to be.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's funny.
absolutely.
Well,
But it's like that was right at
Raw
the time where he
Poetry
was
is
kind of
great in
like,
that.
he's like, I'm still John Cusack at this point.
Yeah.
So I can do this. But then yeah, he made that like 1408 or whatever, and then he made a movie, the Cell one I'm talking about.
He
He
did
made some
2012.
other.
That's the Jennifer Lopez movie?
No, not the. It's got Morgan Freeman in it.
Isn't that called The Cell?
That is
Let me
called
see
The
here.
Cell. This is just called Cell. I know it's great. Movies are awesome.
Oh no, it's fine. I'm just everyone's like, "What, Eric?" I'm like,
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
said
Yeah,
The Cell.
Sam Jackson's in it,
yeah. Samuel L. Jackson is in it. But
and J Lo.
So he took like it's like he got married and had kids and was like,
J-Ho?
listen, I've made millions of dollars.
Yeah.
I'm good. I can take a little time out and kind of pick this, kind of like the way of Nicolas Cage was like, let me just pick these weird little ones off every now and then.
Yeah, it's like I
Like-
don't need the money really, so yeah.
Well,
yeah, he's-
Nicolas Cage needs the money.
But yeah, Nicolas Cage, that's the difference.
because
You know what I'm saying? Like
blows
he
it
can,
immediately.
Need
he
is
doesn't
just
have
a
to
word.
worry
Yeah.
about being
Yeah.
like, because John Cusack would not be in like the Marvel franchise. You know, it's
He
just
could,
that's
though.
not.
Good.
I don't know where I would put him, but
He can be
Ant-Man.
the merman.
Aquaman.
Yeah, the Marvel has.
Oh, Namor.
Bell. What's his name?
Namor.
Namor. Yes.
Yeah. That would actually be really fun.
Was he Marvel?
You know, he was
Namor's Marvel, yeah.
Oh yeah. He
He
looked
had
like
such a
Aquaman and not
Aquaman
career in
with
the
Jason.
80s too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's what happened. Is he just was like, I don't need to be busting my ass for this. I'm good. Let me do some life, and then this is now just kind of picking up little
Yeah.
stuff where he wants it. Really.
Well, and he was super busy in the 80s, and he had his career was still really strong all throughout the 90s. So
He
Oh, it's
Brat
huge.
you're right, he
Pack?
probably is like, I don't need to.
Was he
he's-
part of the Brat Pack?
He's Rat Pack adjacent. Like he was in Say Anything, and he's in
Better
Pretty
Off
in
Dead.
Pink, Better Off Dead, 16 Candles. Like he was in that John Hughes area, but he wasn't he wasn't in the Breakfast Club kind of thing.
I think that though, you talk about high
He was in the
fidelity,
brunch
this, yeah, the brunch grunch. Then being John Malkovich was a huge
Yep.
one. I think it was like 98, 99.
He's in
99
that.
probably.
God, I need to watch that movie again.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
Yeah.
All
Oh,
right.
by the way,
Yeah.
so by the way, I listened to a podcast with Charlie Kaufman on it,
Oh,
and
God.
it's all. And I mean, obviously he's brilliant. He's
Oh,
a
Charlie
great
Kaufman.
writer. Yeah, not Andy
I
Kaufman.
was thinking of Andy
Yeah,
Kaufman.
he's back, but
The
it's-
greatest
yeah.
deception ever. His greatest act, pretending to die.
And his first
Decades ago.
reemergence is on the Hollywood Reporter podcast.
Right.
But it's all the things that we talked about. It's just like where do you spend most of your time, Charlie? Up my own ass. like that's just how it is.
Making
Yep.
a pretentious
Oh
film
my
about
god, the
making fun of
pretentious things he
pretentious
said. Yeah,
art and pretentious theater.
the way that he like talked about other types of is just like, yeah, dude, you're just a pretentious Harvard dick. Like, stop it.
Total douche canoe.
And just one of those guys where it was like they said something like he lives in New York, and he's like, well, yeah, da, da, da. He's like, well, I can't take the subway anymore, obviously. And he kept talking. I was like, what are you talking about? Who knows what you
Yeah,
look
everyone
like?
takes the subway.
Right?
Yeah.
You know how many
No one
famous
knows
people
what
I've
you
run
look
into on
like,
the
dude.
subway?
Don't worry
Come on.
about it.
But
Just
that
because you
also
run the
sounds
Dan
like
Carvey show.
when Letterman would make the joke, Paul, I was on the subway the other day, and everyone laughs.
Yeah.
Sure, you were. You were on
Yeah.
the subway.
But like, don't try to act like you're so famous. Like, I've seen Schenectady in New York, and it sucks. So don't be a dick.
He probably thought that movie was like his greatest artistic
Yeah.
achievement.
Well, but
But
the
he would
problem
call it-
was, so did Roger Ebert. Roger
Oh.
Ebert called it like one of the greatest, like one of the top 10 films of all time, or something like that.
Have you guys gone down the rabbit hole of a Siskel and Ebert review, like what are now either cult classics or just classics, and they just didn't get them, and they thought they were garbage? It's pretty great.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to do that. That sounds like
Yeah.
fun.
Mhm.
Yeah, it does.
Well, one of them was Ace Ventura. I know that for sure. And like when it came out,
Well, that's
they
an
were just
easier
I
thing
mean, yeah, that's not
for
something that
them
we can.
to
I don't
pick
think it's
on,
probably
but-
even that good. But it's just a funny thing where they were just like, no, this guy's terrible. We think he's terrible. He's gonna have no career, type of thing,
Oh,
Jim
yeah.
so,
Carrey.
yeah.
The one that stands out over my head is Aliens,
Mm.
James Cameron, and they were just like, "Oh, it's just despicable, despicable."
Yeah.
They were like, they hated it, and it was like, okay,
Yeah, but
Yeah,
Milo and
amazing.
Otis got 2 thumbs up. So
Right.
the
Oh, yeah.
murder of 10
Sweet.
billion kittens and puppies. Yeah,
Yeah.
that one's fine. To do Milo and Otis, and then talk about the making of. That'll be a dark episode.
Well, this will
I
make a great.
remember-
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, well, when I worked at the news station in college, every Friday we would get from, it was an ABC station. So they had a movie review guy, and every Friday we would get like his segment to air on the local news for that week. And he was like, he would just trash on stuff constantly. And just, he would get super mean. And then I remember when the
Right.
first J.J. Abrams Star Trek came out, and they told us that he was reviewing that movie, and we're all just beside ourselves. I'm like, he's gonna trash Star Trek, and then goes on for like 7-8 minutes about how this is one of his favorite movies. It's one of the best sci-fi movies of all time, and just like gushes over it. We were all sitting around the control room watching it, and we all got up and started cheering and clapping because this guy was such an ass about every movie.
Nice.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know. I just that this story means nothing. I
love
just
that.
thought it
No,
was
I like it. It's
it's-
funny.
What do you say about Into Darkness?
I wasn't there then, so this was the
liked
first
it.
one.
I liked it. Well, I was gonna say
did
we
too,
should
actually.
move this conversation into Nerds After Dark because I think it's an interesting one.
Darken
Considering
this
so,
up.
any final words on Grosse Point Blank?
Watch it.
Watch
I
it.
had never seen it. And
Oh, really? Yeah,
It's fantastic.
highly recommend. It's a good.
I-
it's a good choice if it's going to be your top movie of all time. I think.
I try to make an annual watch of
Yeah.
it.
That's
And,
great.
and
That's a good
well,
plan.
the thing I don't want to do it, which is counterintuitive, is I don't want to watch it so many times that I start to hate it.
Yeah.
So it's like I watch
well,
it
you're
enough.
already to the nitpicking of continuity. So
Right.
you're
Well,
So
right,
you're
but
used to
even
it.
for me though, like I think I mentioned this before, nitpicking continuity for me is just more fun. It's just like it's like fun little flavor things to notice, but it for me, it doesn't ruin the film. It's not like he's got it's not a sword to an axe to nothing. It's not like
Right.
he's all of a sudden got a shotgun. You're like, what? Where did that even come from?
Yeah.
now
So
he's
it's-
holding a pickle.
Yeah,
What's
it's just
happening?
it's that
It's a
wonky
warm
little
pickle.
stuff that's like, but the
Murders.
dialogue for it is so good.
20
Yeah,
Brits with it.
yeah. I would say it's
Great movie.
I wait until it's about the point where I can't quite remember all of it, and then that's when I watch.
Yeah.
Right. Well,
Exactly.
To your point, it's not watch till you hate it. It's watch till you go, I just don't need to watch this ever again. You don't
Right.
want to get to that
Mhm.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that.
Well, thank you
Happy
everybody for
birthday to
listening.
me.
Yeah, happy birthday to Neeko.
Happy
Grosse Point Blank.
birthday!
Watch Grosse Point Blank and listen to our podcast on
The
Apple,
big 6-0 coming
Spotify.
up. Neeko. Oh yeah!
You're gonna be a hot 60-year-old though, Neeko. Don't worry about that.
You look great for
You
60.
do look good. Yeah.
All right.
So everyone who's watching on the stream, thanks for sticking around. We're going to transition into Nerds After Dark. Here we go. Waiting for the. Oh, did it work? Gotta wait
I
for
don't know.
the live stream to catch up. It
Oh,
did. Oh, I love it. That's great.
I gotta switch over.
I like it when it switches over on its own.
Oh boy.
Although it's
And deep
frozen
into
up.
number 2.
YouTube is still holding. There it is.
There it is. All right, beautiful. All right, folks, welcome to Nerds After Dark, brought to you by Zima. I got a letter in the mail
What?
from
They
Zima.
sent a
Is
letter.
it a cease and desist?
Was it from Ultimart in Grosse Pointe, Michigan?
Yes, it was. I thought it was going to be cease and desist. I opened it up, and it was just
Is it from Golden, Colorado?
lined yellow paper. That's just more copy.
Is it college rule?
Oh,
No, it's not. It's wide rule.
wide rule.
Yeah, I know. Even worse. But it's a funny thing because you would think that there would be like a check or some swag or something in there.
Naturally.
We got paid for our sponsorship
I
yet.
mean,
koozie?
no. All we've been paid is this Zima shot glass that I had to buy with my own money. So
You submitted that requisition.
yeah, that's the only thing we've got. But the copy's
Do you
pretty
have
good this
to-
time.
Can you only
Did you
use
submit a
that shot
receipt?
glass with Zima? Can you put anything else in that shot glass?
Well, that's what makes it funny is I think Zima is a
Explodes.
wine cooler, and you would want a lot more than just this. I think a shot of this would be about 0.05% alcohol, so it's not going to your head exactly.
It's like me only having 2 of these.
Right. Or maybe the idea is you shoot something real and then chase it with Zima and then throw up.
Yeah.
That explode
Possibly.
internally.
Like a rhino tranquilizers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anybody? Any- No?
Yes, exactly. So this episode of Nerds After Dark is brought to you by Zima and their new flavor, Watermelon Raz. Do you remember those hot summer days as a kid and the season's first bite of watermelon? Well,
Yeah.
Zima doesn't, because this shit tastes like
Seedless?
warm, dirty rind rubbed in hot garbage.
Oh.
If that's what you're into, then that's what you're in for. Zima's new Watermelon Raz. Zima. We put the Raz on there to trick you into drinking this trash. It's kind of weird. That's weird copy to get from your sponsor.
We put the Raz in Razzmatazz. is what they should have said.
That's what they should have said. There's a lot of things. I mean, I've never gotten a copy that used the S word.
On the back of that, I think that says for internal use only.
Yeah. Right.
As in
That was
butt
a re-
chugging.
Yeah.
That was rejected copy, and they just mailed the wrong one.
That could be a
Yeah.
good one. Zima, good for butt chugging.
Put the Raz in Razzmatazz.
Right? I'm gonna reshare our stream here on the Facebook so that people can come on and listen.
Oh my
to our
God! Remember
nonsense.
Taz?
Tasmanian Devil?
Yeah. Remember when he had his own show? Taz.
Oh yeah, I do
As in
remember that.
Tasmania.
And of
Taz
course, he had like a little
Tasmania.
brother or something too, and then
Yeah,
a female.
probably, 'cause they
a
had to have
female
stupid
Taz.
spin-off characters, and they didn't work. No one gave a shit about any of his relatives.
Yeah.
And we're like, sorry, Taz, we're not paying for your whole goddamn
Well,
thing.
they made the mistake of giving him dialogue, and the whole thing was his character just goes blah 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 blah, and then
spits
he
at
goes
you.
home and he's like, "Woo, honey, hard day at the office. Oh God, just
Well,
boss
they
is really working me on those deadlines."
they saw what worked with the Star Wars Christmas special, and they said, Chewbacca has a family. Let's explore that. So, what can we do with Taz? Let's go that direction. Let's
Forgot
see
about
Taz's
that.
family. Let's see him walk home after a hard
Hey, I'm
day
Eric.
of trying
There's a. Did you remember that?
trying
There's
to cook a rabbit.
there's a
and go,
Sonic
"Ugh."
cartoon. You remember the Sonic cartoon, Sonic the Hedgehog?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Is that where the spin-off the Chica came from?
The
What's her
what?
name? There's a lady
oh
hedgehog.
well. There's Tails, and then there's the rabbit. There's a bunny with a
Oh.
robot arm.
The bunny.
She's got a robot arm. Yeah, she's got a big old
Yeah.
fist. But yeah, so let's now I've just totally forgot what
Whatever
we were
you can do
talking
to get
about.
those coins, you got to do it. Hey, life's hard, man.
Gotta
Life
get
is
them
about those
coins,
coins.
Wow,
Don't
whatever
ask.
it takes to get those coins.
It's hard out there. Got to get them coins.
That was a real cartoon.
Yeah,
Real lessons, real life
Taxes.
taxes
lessons. Sonic cartoon. Oof, hard life lessons.
taught you a lot of things.
Yeah.
A lot
That's
of
why
things you
Sega
didn't know
didn't
you
make
needed.
it. Ready for
It went
Christmas?
straight from Sega Genesis to Revelations.
Yeah. They
What were we
introduced
talking
income
about
tax in
before?
the game.
I don't know.
Just
I'm
before we
sorry.
transitioned, what
I
were we
feel like
talking
this
about?
is my fault.
No, it's fine.
Movie reviews.
We were talking about movie reviews. We were talking about Star Trek.
Rope.
I don't remember that. We're talking about Roger and Ebert, but now I don't remember.
Yeah. Siskel. Yeah. Who's the new guy? Roper.
Yeah. Is that a real?
He's not even new. He's
I
like
know what it
20
was.
years.
The reason that I wanted to bring it up is because it's fascinating to me that there was a time in which we basically got all of our, let's just say news in general, from like one of like 3 or 4 sources. And when it came to like movie reviews, you had your local people like from magazines and things like that, cable access, whatever. But it was Siskel and Ebert, and that was it. And
That's
if
the
they were,
only national thing.
They were like almost a prime time slot. I think they were like a 9:45 to 10 o'clock, like a 15-minute every Friday night, live from Chicago kind of thing. And yeah, I remember
Tribune.
Yeah, the Chicago Tribune.
One of them, and
and that was a thing. Is that
It's
you
crazy.
watched Siskel and Ebert, and then I mean they're I mean, you guys know that I do that stuff too, but like their system was so pure in its simplicity, but so flawed in its simplicity as well. Because it was just a straight up like thumbs up, thumbs down.
Yeah.
And but they never had any sort of rubric for what defined a fist up or a fist down. It was just kind of like it was just kind of one of those things where like
that would have been a good option.
if they were in a good mood when they watched it, Milo and Otis, 2 thumbs up. Like,
Right.
all right.
Yeah.
But then they'd have something like American Beauty, and they'd be like, I don't know if this is Spacey's best work. Thumbs down. Like,
Right.
What?
Like, excuse me? Yeah.
Yeah, it was such a
but the purity of it that there was no feeling that there was any corruption in it. They watched a movie and their brain went blah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they had to live by it.
But to
that's
think
the part
that so
that
many
I
people would take that as a reason to watch or not watch something. I do remember though, even as a kid, thinking that they were wrong most of the time, also like not caring about what they said. I wanted to know what they said, but also really being like, yeah, but I don't know. I think I kind of want to watch this movie.
But this movie looks awesome because I'm a kid, and this is Indiana Jones 2, so screw off.
Or Independence Day. They're like, well, why go watch it? They show you all the good stuff in the trailer. I'm like, that's why I want to watch it. Because we didn't have plasma TVs. We didn't have OLED TVs. We had little tiny square TVs. So I wanted to go to the movie theater and watch all of those things that happened.
Yeah, I wanted to peel my skin off as I watch it.
And I think that our theater in town had just gotten the THX upgrade. So it was just like, well, we got to go see it now because it's going to sound amazing. It's going to be, it's going to make my teeth fall out.
Mikey Molesworth go. I was like, we're going to Independence Day, and we're going to love it. And
Did Mikey love it?
Nah, he's too smart. But I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's what's not to enjoy.
Yeah.
Did you see it? Did you see it in the second theater, the one that used to just be a balcony that they converted?
Oh my god! I remember when that opened back up. It was such a big deal. Like,
there's 4 of them
in
now.
a town that has a double theater.
Yeah. We got 2.
Oh, that's right. Because Brush had just a single theater.
Still do, I think.
Single forever.
We still just have the Sands
the
theater.
Cover. It had been closed. Right. It was a theater with a balcony.
Yes.
Way back when.
Yeah.
Stage theater. I don't know what the history is. but then it had been closed off forever. And so when they opened that balcony up and made it a second theater, that was like a huge deal.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, 100%.
Was that middle school?
Yeah.
That was like
Yeah.
right
Somewhere
around
around there.
6th grade.
And then when
7th
we
grade for
were
us. Yeah. 90s.
after we graduated, that's when Business Mart got involved and bought it. Well, because what's his name?
Sorry, Brian. We're
Yeah, no,
We're
that's some
reminiscing
Fort Morgan.
about
Some Fort Morgan
You
history
have
for
been to
you.
FOMO though.
So the guy,
Couple times.
it's funny too, because so for listeners, our Fort Morgan's claim to fame movie wise is in Dumb and Dumber. It's heavily featured in the film Dumb and Dumber, and in particular the part where he the famous sea bass thing,
Right.
where he's got the sea bass, but the people walking outside the windows of that scene are Fort Morgan residents, and there's an older couple. It's an older lady who's very well dressed and an older portly man. They were the owners of the Cobra Theater.
Portly.
It's
a great
he's
word.
got that fat waddle where it's just like
Yeah, it's the duck
yeah.
walk.
He's got the gravity's gonna take me walk.
Did he have to go?
He didn't have to, but he
Everywhere
did.
went?
From time
He
to
didn't have
time.
to, but
Did he have to carry an umbrella with him everywhere he went? He didn't have to.
Right. So sorry. So they
But he wanted to.
they were
Yes.
the owners
A
of the
long
Cobra
cigarette.
Theater, and then I think he passed when we were in college, and then the business right next door, Business Mart, bought in, but because they owned literally the business right next door and the second floor, they converted the second floor to 2 more theaters. So they split it out and busted it off. So we now have 4
theaters, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, and now it's owned by somebody different, and they just bought the building next door
What?
on the other
Because
side, and they're going to
everything's
change.
out of business.
Yeah, exactly. They're going to change that
Thanks,
to a new
COVID.
lobby. So
Wow.
it'll be a new lobby, new entrance, and all that kind of stuff.
Oh,
yeah.
really?
Then
That
COVID
happened.
hit and no more movie
Yeah, and
theaters.
nobody went to movies
Yeah, right.
anymore. And COVID hits again, and everything's going to close
Yeah,
again.
I remember.
Yeah.
So we've talked about how I see multiple movies in a string, right?
What?
So I remember my dad and I. This is when they had 4. We went up to the lady and bought. I think it was like Tanya Hansen, name drop. We went up and said like
Oh.
we said, oh yeah, we want the 7 whatever this and the 915 that, and she looked at us like, what? Yeah, I want this and this, and she's like, well, you could just come out and buy it at 9 o'clock. Like, no, just sell it to me right now.
I'm not coming out. Okay.
Yeah, it was
I don't
like,
care what the rumors
Especially
are.
not today.
yeah, and it was
I'm
like,
with my
listen,
dad.
This is not the venue.
yeah, like listen, I'll buy the
It is a
tickets.
theater, though.
It's like you can tear them. You can tear them both now if that's the
Pretty
problem.
perfect
If you're
place
worried
to
about the
come out.
accountability of it, like I'm not. It's just the concept of somebody seeing 2 movies back to back at the same time,
Right, was like,
and then trying to
what?
handle it with just like it deregulated her brain, just like it's like it's like, and then that was because my dad and I
It's
was
like me at Target every morning. Someone asks me a question. I go, "You're making me think."
Where's the cosmetics, sir? And then just oozes out your ear.
yeah. So that was so if they get a new lobby, that'll be interesting. But because that had still the super eclectic, like you walk up to the glass cage,
Yeah. Like
and,
right in the corner, and it's it's
like
cool.
slide your dollars in this little trough.
But when the world goes back to normal, and you can walk in, and it's busy again, there's just no room for anybody at the concessions area.
Absolutely.
So it's good. It'll be good. Also because basically your options are, theater buys everything, or allo fiber optic internet like movement. There's nothing. There's just offices down there now. There's nothing cool. I wanted to put my studio down there, but there was nothing available that looked good. Studio-ish.
Well, that would have been like
You're next to the mouse's house. Remember that place?
I'm not, but yeah. I mean, I'm close-ish, but yeah.
What
Do you
is
remember that
now?
fountain? It's a
Does it
Mexican
still exist?
restaurant where Eamon. So when we were, Brian, you were with us
Here we
too.
go. Here
I think
we
it
go.
was you and me and
We're into
Eamon.
the FOMO club.
Yeah, went to that restaurant, that Mexican restaurant one night, and there was hair in the
Yeah.
salsa. Do you
Yeah.
remember that? Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a Mexican. So this is great though because the three of us are sitting there. They
It's not
deliver.
even the mouse's house
No,
anymore.
it's
If you'd expect that from the mouse's house.
yeah, yeah, but not this place. They put the salsa in front of us, and we go to eat it, and there's just, and it's not like
Which
a
Bronco
hair.
owns this place?
Yeah,
Because I think
Yeah.
Broncos own everything in Fort Morgan now.
Do
Don't
they? I don't know about
It's a
that.
couple.
Long, like long hair,
Yeah.
and so
What color?
I just kind of, and having
Platinum.
all the service industry experience that I've got, I hate calling waiters over, but I just waved at him and he came over and I was like, and I take my glasses off because you can't see my face with the glare. I go, there's like a hair in the salsa, and he looks at me as if to say, okay,
And
what do you
Like, why did you put a hair in there?
what do you
weirdo?
want? And he's like nice, but there's did
Was
you
it
drive
me?
here?
This
It-
feels like me.
it was more like a did you drive here yourself sort of situation, like, or did someone bring you? And so and I was just like, yeah, can we get another one? And it was very indignant about it, like, yeah, I guess if I must.
One hair?
Yeah,
So you need a replacement because of a hair. Okay.
gotcha.
I'll be right back,
Gotcha,
sir.
Karen.
It comes
Yeah.
back with 10 hairs in it. Is this what you wanted? More hair? Is that what you're
Crazy.
looking for?
Yeah, it was crazy. I was like, get out of here. But the Mouse's house, which was the restaurant before this one, had a giant fountain in the middle, didn't it?
Yeah.
Have this like
In the
yeah.
foyer.
Yeah. That's what I seem to remember.
I don't think we ever went.
Oh.
But I remember that Mexican place being pretty
Yella.
good, other than the hair and the salsa.
Oh, the food.
Beyond
is
the hair, the food is great.
awesome.
Yeah.
Maybe
So-
the hair is the secret.
Is it La
ingredient.
Paloma? Is that what it's called?
Maybe.
It's called Casa Padron, I think.
It's been a
Casa
while since I've been home.
Pantene.
Well, it's funny because speaking of Mexican restaurants, Natalie and I have this running joke about like breakfast burritos in LA. All the places here, they all have their health code score like in the front window.
Mhm.
And there's always a joke. It's like, you don't want to get a breakfast burrito from an A place. You need to like at least a B, a good B.
Yeah,
It's gotta
solid
have
B.
more
Nice-
flavor.
Nice
sure.
greasy bee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Someone who
B is
hasn't
super
cleaned
passable.
their
Yeah.
And it's really
Right.
easy to get a B because B is actually what everybody should get because the health code things are way too stringent. A's
Yeah.
are really only given to you after they say,
If you're new,
fix these B things and we'll give you an A. But if you've got a C, that's no bueno. But a B,
Yeah.
you're just the right amount of dirty for sure. Because those are places that go, no, we don't want to clean that, and that's
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
Well, aren't there weird things in the health code too about like you can get marked down if you have too many chairs, or if like the walking aisles are too close, like the walking space is too close together. I remember there's a tiny little restaurant up here in Vegas.
these demtards.
There's this tiny little place up here in Vegas. It was just this little mom and pop Thai restaurant that had essentially just counter service. And the health inspector came in and like just dropped these huge fines on him, and she was freaking out, like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. And so what happened? I mean, I can't fix your problem, but just tell me what happened. And they had like a countertop attached to the wall with seats on it to sit at and just eat your food, 30 minutes or less, in, out, boom, gone. But they said because there was like 24 seats, they had to have a bathroom. And she's like, this is an empty space in a kitchen. I can't put a bathroom in here. So every year when the health inspector comes, they just tore that counter off the wall.
Yeah.
Like
You do
put
what
it,
you gotta
you
do.
can literally just see it like leaning against the back wall. And it's like, oh, health inspector's coming around. She's like, yep. Okay.
We used to call it
Sitcom.
in LA, anyways. It was Oscar de la Hoya. So when you would go through the restaurant, and the manager, whoever's on the floor, would be like, "Hey, Oscar de la Hoya's in the house." We'd be like, "Oh, cool." That was the signal to tidy everything
Oh,
up because
the
the
health
health inspector was
inspector.
coming. Yeah.
Nice.
So because it was always random, every 6 to 8
That was his
months or
nickname,
something.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
The health inspector.
Yeah, yeah. It was very confusing to boxing fans everywhere. Yeah.
Because then he comes the next day, like 2 days in a row. He loves this place.
Well, I didn't know that was the
Where's
thing.
your hairnet, man? We're about to fight.
The first
Oh,
time.
Oscar De La Hoya
He's
again.
coming.
God, throwing down the regulations. Oh.
Because I was just new to LA the first time I heard it, and so I was like, my first celebrity sighting. Here we go. I didn't know it was a thing. I legitimately thought it was Oscar De La Hoya, and then I saw this like spindly old lady walk through the door, and I was like, "That's okay,
That's
I
not
get
Oscar
Like,
De
ooh,
La
that's
Hoya.
definitely
Wow.
not Oscar.
The camera definitely adds a couple pounds.
Yeah.
Everything.
Right. Boxing has a lot of films,
And complexion.
ma'am. Yeah,
All around.
and a vagina.
I didn't realize the camera turned an outie into an innie.
Right. It all depends.
Now I know. I
You
don't
know,
know how they do porn.
that same restaurant I was working in, the guy who was the manager, he's a doofus. And this was back in 2006 probably. And do you guys remember Patricia Heaton? She was in what's that Tim Allen
Yeah.
Everybody
show?
loves Raymond.
She's in Raymond. She's
Yeah,
Raymond's
yeah, yeah,
wife.
yeah. That's what
yeah.
it was. Raymond's wife. So 2006, it was still hot.
That
back
sounds
then.
like a really sad movie about this tragic woman, Raymond's wife.
You remember Raymond's wife?
Raymond's wife? Oh,
Yeah.
where she had to choose to kill her middle child. She didn't seem too bummed about it because it was the middle child, but
That got dark real quick.
Yeah. They were going to call it Sophie's Choice, but that was already taken.
Is that why it
because
spun off
middle
into the
child
middle?
is way too much of a comedy
Yeah.
title.
But anyway, so she's at the host stand. So and the manager, that guy at the time, he was running the door or whatever, and he would not let it go. He did the LA thing that you should not do, and he goes, "You look really familiar."
Oh no!
And she's like, "Yeah," and he goes, "No,
I
no,
get that.
like, do I know you? Do we have to go to school together? Like, are you familiar?" And she's like, "I'm on TV," and he's like, "Oh, okay, maybe that's how I know you." And then he takes her to the table, and then he comes up and goes, I feel like I know her." And I was like, "Yeah, Dick, she's on Everybody Loves Raymond." He goes, "Oh, oh yeah." I was like, he was so convinced that this very famous person in freaking West LA is someone he went to high school with. It's like, bro, everyone you think is familiar is a celebrity. Like, just learn that and you're going to be fine.
Right.
That's how it works.
I would have loved it if he would have been like, she's like, "I'm on TV." He's like, no, that's not it. It's not. No, you're wrong.
That's not it.
No, that's not it.
Together.
Yeah,
it would be even better though if he's like, "Did you go to Blee Blah High in this year?" And she's like, "Maybe."
Yeah.
It's like, that would make me 60, you dick.
This is the one time.
Yeah. What if they actually did go to school together? Yeah.
I had to get up for a second because I heard bottles clinking because my dog likes to lose stuff under our wine rack, and she's broken bottles on occasion.
No.
So I heard bottles clinking, so I had to go.
Was their wine broken?
No, I caught it in time.
Thank goodness.
I had to go subdue the dog.
Can't have that.
The beast.
Yeah.
Do you think that's what a drunk pregnant woman says? My wine broke.
Let's hope she's not drunk and pregnant at the same time.
Yeah,
that would be a bad
implied.
combination. Yeah.
That's why I'm
There's
implying.
lots of problems.
Yeah, yeah.
Fetal alcohol syndrome is what I'm implying.
This is a very educational version of the Smoking Hot Nerds podcast.
This is a very special episode of Blossom.
Yeah.
Remember Blossom?
Speaking of,
Whatever
She's got a
happened
new
to
show.
her?
She's on
a new show?
Yeah,
well,
it's
she's on
called,
Big Bang?
She's on Big Bang, like a crazy person.
she's got a show that I think premiered this week or next week called, it's just, I don't remember the title of it. It's like Fun with Cats. She's like she owns a restaurant that's like cat friendly. I don't know. It's not gonna live.
That's failing miserably.
Yeah.
Is that
Like,
the pilot you're supposed to work
how
on,
many
Brian?
episodes do you think?
Yeah, it's probably like 2 or 3.
So, can we?
What?
Ugh.
It's called like Fun with Cat or something
It's
like
a
that. and
CBS. Is that what Big Bang was on?
I think so.
Yeah.
or-
If it's
I'm
on
sure it's
CBS, it'll
CBS,
run for
right?
15 years.
Yeah, right.
True.
Yeah, it's done
It
by
is
Stephen
the
Moffat.
Tiffany Network.
So, what's the deal? so I've caught some Big Bang,
Yeah.
and she's just
Oh, I've
like
got some
she
Big
like
Bang.
really just not attractive. Is that a thing? Is that like was that like a
Mayim Bialik?
yeah? Was that like a
She
choice?
is a scientist, though,
I
in
think
real
they
life.
dumb her down a
Yeah,
little bit.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
she has like
isn't
she has like 2 doctorates
Because
in
it's
Yeah.
like
rough. It's
in molecular biology and neurophysiology
in real life.
she
in real life.
she
Yeah.
walks the walk. So they went,
She's a legit
oh,
smart person.
let's
Yeah.
get Blossom, who is an actual scientist, on the
Yeah.
show.
Wow.
Yeah, to
Well, they
give
put
it
her with Sheldon. So you
Yeah.
got
yeah, to give it some like actual cuz it's kind of like the thing where people who have no right being in a doctor are just using all the machines wrong, or people that are like hacking code are doing it's anytime you have something in a profession where that person has no right to be doing that.
Yeah.
Like a guy who just sticks a screwdriver into an engine, like, okay, you're not a mechanic. That's not how that works.
you
Are you
didn't
sure?
grow up on my farm.
Well, I'm sorry.
That's how we started shit.
But to give Big Bang some cred, they threw her in there as like
Yeah.
basically a fact checker, but then she's Mayim Bialik, so they're like, this is perfect.
Yeah.
Because I think she will say it too, that she was only supposed to be on for, she was like the big cliffhanger at the end of like the 4th season or something like that. Was the date. It was like the date where Sheldon meets a female Sheldon, and that was the
Right.
cliffhanger. And then she was on for the rest of the.
But she has
I mean,
feelings.
she did a great job. Yeah.
Unlike
She did a good job.
Sheldon, who has no feelings.
Yim Parsons.
Yeah.
But he does. For Mima.
Yeah. At the very end of the last episode.
Yeah, I got to that. We were
I
talking
need to
about that on
watch
my
that.
run. So I'm at the end of the Spotify list, and it
Are you? I gotta
yeah, the
catch
one
up
before the one before it was we were talking about that, and then this last one is my political rant. I'm like, okay,
then. Oh yeah.
I have an unboxing
Uh-oh.
to do.
Oh, you bought a
Somebody
Funko.
sent me Shipwreck.
Nice. Who sent you that?
I wonder who could have done that.
What?
It's somebody pictured here.
So why? Just because he's a GI Joe, or was there something about Eric being an actual
Because
shipwreck?
I went on a binge.
Yeah.
it was
And a certain Neeko said,
so
well,
we
and I mentioned it. I mentioned that there are G.I. Joe Funkos.
Yeah. I love it.
yeah it jumped
That's
out at me
great.
because we were talking about it, and
Look at this
then
asshole. Look at this guy. Oh, he's great.
and then it was just
Yeah, it's
it was
great.
perfect that
I'm
we,
back there
because
with
I think we were
Doc.
talking. There's one whole episode where we talk about how Shipwreck gets like kidnapped by Cobra and is convinced that he's got like a family. And
Yeah.
we were on I was on a run, and I was listening to this going like, oh my god. And then I would just, in my recommended stuff on Amazon, Shipwreck popped up. I was like,
Nice.
wow, this is happening.
That's great.
This is
That
what happened.
episode
Yeah.
is amazing.
That was one. Was that one when Brian was gone?
It might have been, yeah.
Maybe.
It was, I think it was like in
Yeah.
our early phases of our Nerds After Dark stuff where
Yeah.
we really hadn't kind of settled in on the
Like
format.
for a stupid cartoon, there's this moment where this guy was forced into thinking that he had a family, a wife and a daughter
For a
that he
kids
doesn't
show, yeah.
remember.
Yeah.
And then they melt in front of him and his house burns down. And he's just like, and then the Joes come up and are like, hey, dude, what's up? Oh, you okay, dude? And he's just like, I'm fine.
Everything is
It's
fine.
insane.
I'm fine. And I was like, this is the darkest crap you could ever put in a cartoon. Woo!
Yeah, it was like a Rick and Morty
Wonderful.
episode.
Well, you get
Yeah,
to that
it's
point,
like-
I think, when
yeah,
you're
right.
there's a show on, I don't even know what it's on anymore. I watched maybe the first season, but it was a bunch of people who were from the Groundlings, and they did like a show where they were cartoon writers, but they were trying to be real writers, but they are on a cartoon, and it's a very successful cartoon, and people love the cartoon, and they hate writing on the cartoon. And so I think that you just, when you're writing anything really, probably, you get to the point where you're just like, oh, I just want to do something different.
Just
I want to change it up. Yeah.
put the thing.
Like, can I just have Shipwreck's family melt in front of his face? Just one episode? Would that
Can
be
we
okay?
just make him the most tragic character randomly? Yeah.
Why was he so tragic? Was there something wrong
Because
with
he's
Shipwreck?
like Navy.
He was also adopted.
Oh,
He is a tragic character,
Is
and
that
he's
canon?
also yeah, that's
Oh,
canon,
man.
and he's also the biggest like he would get me too'd in a heartbeat.
it
Yeah.
would
This
give
is
you
a cartoon.
It's
Oh,
a
yeah.
cartoon, but that character, you're like, whoa, where they go with
Wasn't
him?
there another sailor though? Was there besides shipwreck? Was there another sailor?
There was a
Hot Pants
seal.
Bonnie.
There was a seal, Navy SEAL.
Oh, okay.
Wetsuit, I
Hot
think.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was something
wetsuit.
like that.
Yeah.
And there were two Marines.
Mm-hmm.
There was Leatherneck, who came after what's his name, Gung Ho,
Oh.
and the SEAL and Gung Ho like hated each other, but they were pals.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they hated each other.
All right. So let's go around the table. What would your GI Joe name be if you were a GI Joe?
Well, now I have it
What is it?
because I have
That's
the
right.
character.
Yeah.
Well,
From
here,
Halloween.
you guys go
Yeah,
first.
yeah.
Brian, what would your GI Joe name be? Do you think?
Hot pants.
Yeah. Yeah.
You carry a flamethrower.
Well, so what would
around.
you wear? Yeah. What's
What's
your
your
costume?
specialty?
Yeah.
Never nude shorts. That's it.
Just cutoffs.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cut off jean shorts.
Yeah. I love it.
Probably a sailor hat to complete
Yeah.
it.
What was your training? Where did you train to be a Joe?
That club out by the airport where I trained to be a Joe.
Yeah. All right. I don't think that was the same training.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, welcome to the
They
team.
say I was brought on the ship to be entertainment, but they haven't told me what kind of entertainment it is.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
I love how I just made all the GI Joes gay.
Well, or to-
There are a lot of hints.
yeah. There's not. It's not a
You're-
secret.
It's
Yeah.
lonely in the bush.
Yeah. Neeko, what do you think?
Let's see. I would probably be relegated to something like IT guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, you would be like
They call you like fiber.
dial
Yeah,
tone.
Oh, dial tone. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Someone
get
else.
modem on the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They call it or megabit.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. That'd be good. So you're
It'd
like
be
the tech guy.
gigawatt.
Gigawatt,
What?
Yeah.
jinx.
1.21 gigawatts.
Yeah.
Hold on. Yeah, it would definitely be some sort of like the eye in the sky recon satellite surveillance type
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah,
Mhm.
I love it.
eagle eye. That'd be
What do
too good
you-
for the Joes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
I think. Oh,
Too smart for them.
I think that maybe GI Joe could use like a field reporter, like a field documentarian or something. You
So
know?
you called like target
There is
practice.
that character.
No, I was thinking I could. Was it really?
There's this guy. Well, he's not their documentarian, but there's like a news guy that has done exposés on them.
Oh.
And for one
yeah.
of them, he like twists it to make them seem like what's the reason for the Joes? It's essentially like ripping on the libtard whole
Gotcha.
thing,
Yeah.
going, oh, what's the need for these military guys?
Mhm.
And
See, I was thinking more
prove
like
why they
embedded,
are.
like the guy who's embedded with them to like film
Yeah.
their exploits. Like
They
you
don't have that guy.
call him, we call him frame rate, or cannon fodder, I suppose. Either or.
Yeah.
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 Amanpour. Yeah, something.
Yeah.
Cannon
Yeah.
fodder.
Yeah. Film stock.
Film stock.
Yeah.
Long lens.
Yeah. ISO. What's your guy's
Here's
name?
my character.
Oh yeah, what'd you settle?
Weeblo.
Weeblo? Is that what you decided on?
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Dead Mother's good,
Dead
man.
Mother's
Dead
fine.
Mother's
Dead Mother is
That's
good.
fine.
Yeah.
That's
My
good.
Cub Scout super soldier.
What was I gave you an idea for his name. What was it? How funny was I
Yeah.
to find this? I wasn't
You have to
that
ask how funny.
But
he
I
was.
also,
Yeah.
how the others have animals. I have a hedgehog and a squirrel.
I did see that.
Nice.
That are my familiars or whatever you call them. Yeah.
It's a solid choice because you've also got, you got the mask going. So it works.
Yeah,
Oh,
it works for them.
it works. Yeah, badge. That's what I
I
thought.
almost-
It was called.
Oh, badge. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That
I was impressed
merit.
that you got almost you pretty much got all the patch placement down.
Yeah.
Like you did it.
I
Yeah.
researched. I did my
Good.
work.
Yeah.
Because Neeko,
Yeah.
you
I was
were a
I was
Did
leveler,
not
impressed.
weren't
want
you?
to screw it up.
Yeah, I got all the way up to Eagle.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. This mother went eagle.
Actually, where is it? Oh,
I
it's tucked away. I
I
have
was
all
in
my
the
stuff
scouts
over here.
in second
Nice.
grade. I was Wolf Scout. That's why I picked this.
Mm.
At Garment District, they were selling used, like secondhand Boy Scout stuff, and that's
Oh,
where I
wow.
went. And this was months ago. Thank God.
Did you feel
I
creepy?
planned. No.
No.
Do you have any used Boy Scout uniforms?
If I felt a little
Why?
creepy,
No
it
reason.
only helped.
Mhm.
I was gonna ask you,
Wait,
did
what?
you go
What?
to a Boy Scout place and buy
A
patches, or
Jubilee?
no?
I forgot that's what
No.
they're called.
Did you what's the right word? Did you find all those patches and pull them off and assemble them, or did you go buy a bunch?
eBay lots.
eBay.
I went to
Okay.
eBay because there are endless lots of stuff.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
I did the one thing that I separately bought, I think, was a Pinewood Derby car.
Oh right on.
Nice.
Because one of the other lots that I bought previously had a first place prize.
Right on.
So those are on my backpack.
Nice. That's
Well
great.
done.
I love it.
Yeah.
I tried.
Yeah, you did really well.
And
Yeah.
I barely did it. The night before, I was like, earlier that day, I was like, I don't have the
Not
energy, I
happening.
don't want to do this. And by the time I left work, I was like, you're doing it.
Was
It's gonna happen.
it bonkers leading up to Halloween this year, or what was it like?
I mean, it wasn't, but I was the only person doing it, as opposed to like 5 or 6 people.
Yeah.
So it was
Totally different Halloween. For sure.
totally different. But luckily, it was enough of a Halloween
Mhm.
overall.
Good.
We just stayed in and watched Paranormal Activity.
Nice.
The first
Yeah.
one? How many of
Yeah.
them are there?
I
14.
don't know.
There's like I think there's 5, but they're not all. It's
5
not
or
like 1,
6,
2, 3,
yeah.
4, 5. It's like
There's not
Well,
five
there's
of anything. It's crazy.
there's 1 which is
Rockies.
the original, and then there's
Well,
2
horror
which
movies.
is
Yeah.
2 goes backwards into the origin of the first one,
Sorry.
and then 3 goes into people investigating the first one, and then there's like Paranormal Activity de los Muertos, which is like it shifts. And then I think
Did
they
they
tried to
bring
like
the nuns in from the nun movies?
right and right. Well, they had it somehow
I
Paranormal
got
lost
Nuns.
to a
transferred.
nun
Yeah,
years ago. Costume.
did
nun.
you?
Oh, nice.
But yeah, it's and then
I
the
was
fifth
Sir
one.
Duncan
I think
of
they tried to
Donuts.
dial it back.
And I lost to a nun. Fine.
A sexy nun?
I hardly remember.
No.
No, horror nun.
Oh.
A horror nun.
Hornin. Oh.
Be very careful
Horror
with that.
nun.
I saw that
Horror.
documentary on Netflix.
Or
So what?
Horror.
Which one's the one with Patrick? What's that guy's name? The guy who's in everything.
What is that's
He was in. You
that's
know.
the same
Patrick Warburton?
franchise, isn't it?
No,
That's
the guy who.
what's her name?
Oh,
was in it,
Annabelle.
too.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking.
It's
Oh, you're
that
thinking of like the
different movie.
Conjuring,
Conjuring.
and
It's
that
Conjuring
franchise.
2.
It's hard to keep track of all these terrible movies.
I haven't watched none of them, so I'm trying to remember from the commercials.
The Conjuring's actually really
But
good.
I know what you're talking about.
I watched
It's
the first
Conjuring
like
2.
16 minutes
right?
of that one because he's
it
in it,
one?
but there's somebody else in it that's like really good.
Vera Farmiga.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I was like, what are these people doing in this? Oh,
Vem
money.
Fuego.
Gotcha. Vim.
That one has like
She reminds me
3
of
or
Tilda
4
Swinton.
and 2 spin-offs on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it was based off of a real family in like North Carolina or something of
Right.
paranormal investigators, and then they took some of their transcripts and made Conjuring 1, Conjuring 2, and
Right.
then the Annabelle doll in Conjuring 2 became very popular. So then they spun off Annabelle, and then I think there was
The
like
new
Conjuring 3,
There's
like
the
Lost
Nun and
Keys or something.
That
Yeah, and
just
then
hurts my
there's some
brain
spin-offs.
thinking about it. Who was it? Who was who played the family though in the Conjuring? What's that?
Ron Livingston and
That's right. That's why that movie
Yeah.
was so
Ron
awkward.
Livingston?
So it was like we had like Patrick
Office
the
Space.
Owl guy and Vera
Dude.
Farmiga and Ron Livingston. I was just like, what is this movie? Is this
that
just
the
a
British
giant?
guy?
It was just a big paycheck.
No,
movie
Ron Livingston is the guy
from
from
Office
Space.
Space.
It was pretty good.
I
Was
was
it good?
thinking of the dude
Yeah.
who was the
I
first
didn't get through it.
Punisher. And
Tom Jane.
No,
Dolph
no.
Lundgren.
Oh no, he was like the second or third Punisher. He was.
Oh, you're
in
thinking about the guy who's in
blackface.
Walking Dead.
Everyone's in The Walking Dead. I'm starting to
You
think.
talking about Johnny Bernthal?
No, he's
Yeah.
okay, hold on.
Which Punisher? There can't be that many
The
Punishers.
penalizer.
Ugh. It's Thomas
Are you-
Jane.
Are you
Knock
talking
off.
about the guy with the skinny head, or are you talking about the guy with like a literal
He
like
was
a
in
keg
Rome.
head?
He was in the HBO Rome show. And then he was like in the sequel of Punisher.
The guy from The Mummy?
I love this
What is
blender
happening
of
right
thought.
now?
This is
I
amazing.
love it. It's great. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna keep pushing this thing. Ron Livingston, isn't that the guy?
No, he was definitely not in Rome.
He was not the Punisher either.
It's probably a really close name though.
Yeah, it's John Livingston.
He played Blackbeard, I think, in the Black Sails.
Still doesn't help me.
No, I've not seen anything from Stars.
I know.
Isn't that Javier Bardem?
Ray Stevenson.
Ray Stevenson is who you're thinking of.
What is
Oh,
that?
he was the second Punisher. They made
That's
that weird.
extraordinary. Here he is as a drunk guy.
Too many Punishers. Oh, that guy. Why was he
Not
never
Ron
the
Livingston.
Punisher?
Ray Stevenson.
Ray Stevenson. I was.
You were close.
Right there.
Whitey McWhiterson.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The other Whitey Bulger. I've got a
man.
Whitey Bulger. If you know what I mean.
I've got a whitey bulger.
You ever try to tan your
It's
Whitey
not
Bulger?
departed.
It's not.
Wow.
I'm in
Yeah.
Boston.
I call mine the
That's true.
Irishman.
Because it's old and shriveled.
Well,
and
but if you
is
put
it
the
a
right
home?
camera on it, it gets younger.
The right CGI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It only requires 38 cameras on one rig, but it'll look real young.
Still walks like an old man.
You got to get real close to it. Yeah, it's still got a gut and walks like an old man, but you know, make it work.
Yeah, when they tried to pass De Niro off as like late 20s, early 30s Robert De Niro, but still walks like 70-year-old De Niro.
Yeah, the body thing just did not.
Did he
really
have a
work.
walker? Because I haven't watched it yet, but I heard people talking.
It's a
about
good
it.
movie.
Yeah, it's good.
I mean,
It's
don't get me
really good.
wrong.
I'm
It's a fantastic movie.
fascinated by that story.
Mhm.
I was, I feel like I was in a car driving. I was in Colorado, visited friends in Longmont, drove back to Aurora, and I was on a radio station that was talking about the book,
Okay.
talking about, what happened to Hoffa.
Mm.
And, oh, this is fascinating. And then the movie came out, and I went, nah.
I heard it. I'm good. Yeah.
Yeah, right. I don't know. I'm
You know what's
not into
crazy?
gangster movies.
We talked about that.
Nothing
Yeah.
against them. Have
Yeah.
I mentioned that in the past?
Yeah,
Yeah, we
but
talked
I
about how
get
that
it.
you just it's too
It's too real.
real and you can't you escape into it because you're like, no, all
It's
that
not a
happened.
cartoon.
I want to watch. Yeah, I want to watch G.I. Joe. Fuck you.
I'll be give me 5 minutes, I'll be right back.
You don't have to fuck anybody. Like, it's fine, dude. Watch what you want to watch, but
Dude,
you know,
I'm not fucking anybody.
try one on for size. You
And
know.
I still don't want to watch.
Maybe that's
I-
why you're not, because you're watching. Have you ever
G.I. Joe
tried?
is not getting me laid.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
No,
You might be right.
I might be wrong though. Yeah.
I might have a date on Saturday. I'm gonna push this thought forward.
What's his name? That's the worst joke. I don't know why
Gregory.
I
Yeah.
said that.
Gregory.
But when you put the camera on, him,
Gregory is in tech.
and his innie is an
Big
outie.
surprise.
Yeah. He's at MIT.
Can you believe it? Yeah. He's in tech.
He went to MIT, didn't finish, but went to MIT.
Yeah,
Didn't study, just
but he's
visited
working
the
on an
campus.
app.
Yeah.
It's an app,
He has half a degree from MIT, Harvard, and Northeastern.
and it's gonna be the Uber of turtle sales.
It's
So
gonna
you're
be
gonna
the
love it.
next.
Yeah,
Uh,
he's gonna be the next
he is the
Zuckerberg.
next hero and a half shell.
Speaking of turtles, have you
Turtle
guys seen
power.
how Trump has that voter fraud hotline you can call and report voter fraud, but everyone's just been
No,
The
pranking it?
headline. Yeah,
no,
he's asking
And
to be pranked.
a hotline
yeah,
like a phone.
it's a phone number. Like I'm gonna do it tomorrow, I think. But people just call and like say random shit and see how long they can get
We'll call it right
the
now.
person to stay on. Huh?
Call it right now. Put it on
Yeah.
speaker.
Here, hold on 1 second. Here, you dial. I'll be back in a minute.
Oh well, yeah. You think you can get them put on hold? We'll wait till everyone's back and then let's do it.
Yeah.
Wait
I
until
gotta find the link again. But
everyone left us.
they do this thing. There's one person called is like, I want to report voter fraud. Okay, can you describe it? There's this turtle on his back, and he does not know that he can't get up, but he keeps trying. And there's like another one someone called. Yeah, I'd like to report voter fraud. There is a orange Cheeto that is also drunk in the White House.
Oh man, what would a person expect if you put up a hotline?
Yeah.
That's all you're gonna get is that kind of stuff. Like that's it. There's no other choice.
Where's the phone number? Damn it. Here it is. Okay.
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, wait till everyone comes back and then we'll call it. We'll come up with some ideas.
We'll see if they're still open.
Yeah.
It is.
Well, if it's a hotline, it's got to be open. Is it like live? Are people answering it?
Yeah.
Come on, really?
Yeah. It's. Oh yeah.
That's insane.
Guess what the fucking phone number is?
What is it?
1-888-630-1776.
Nice. Independence, baby.
So if we have on our listeners, you guys should call this number, and we're gonna
Mhm.
fucking prank Trump.
So
Oh, I said
crazy.
the F word, but it's nerds
It's
after
okay.
dark. Who
So
cares?
did I. I said it earlier, which I'm not proud of.
Yeah.
But sometimes it slips out. You know.
It just
Sometimes you
happens.
say things. Yeah. Sometimes the F-bomb drops.
I have a lot of Trump supporter friends, and I hope they're listening because this is gonna be hilarious. I don't know. What are we gonna say?
I don't know.
I wish Eric could just talk.
Well, you can send him in the number and he can call.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'd be good at that. He's always good at that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I feel like he's the star for this
Yeah,
mission.
I think so too. Yeah, yeah. Put it in the group chat and then he can call it. Hey, look at this. So, just saw our friend Alex Urbaum, who made this movie a long time ago called Killer Weekend. Looks like it just finally got released. So
Like
that's
a long
exciting.
time ago.
Yeah,
Love that guy.
me too. Such a good dude. Don't talk to him enough. So,
What's up?
Eric, in the group chat, there is a phone number, and we think you should call that phone number.
We
Okay.
think you are the right man for the job.
chosen
To,
one.
Mhm.
What did I walk away from?
we're calling the Trump voter fraud hotline.
Oh no.
Yes. Yes, we are.
This is Sam Elliott. I'm
Because
a true patriot.
Brian was like,
Yeah,
I don't really
okay.
know what I want to say. I was like, just give it to Eric. He'll figure
Yeah.
something out. He'll know what to say. He'll know what to
Okay.
say.
I am dialing.
Put it on
Yay.
the old
Oh, yeah,
speakerphone.
hold on.
Oh boy.
I'm a real grandma when it comes to technology.
I guess we could talk about the election.
We could.
Mean the
We'll just make
fraud?
fun of Trump.
The-
We apologize for any inconvenience this may cause. Thank you for calling. Goodbye.
They're flooded.
They're flooded?
Volume, and all agents are busy assisting other customers. Please try your call again later. We apologize for any
Oh,
inconvenience this may cause. Thank you for
It's a
calling.
bummer.
So let's
Try again in
pretend
5 minutes.
I did
Let's
call them.
let's digest that for a second. So they set up an 888 number, it's already getting such a high volume that they've had to roll it into turning people away.
Mm.
What
It's
is
not
the
because they're fraud.
I was like,
Yeah.
Calls.
what do
Yeah.
you think the honest percentage is of people like us? Like, or are there people in the Democratic Party who are paid to just make sure that that phone line can never be picked up?
Be
Like,
easy.
is there an entire call center who's just got a computer running a loop that's
Yeah.
like, call that number, get it, hang up, call that number, get it,
Yeah.
hang up.
Well, it's. I don't know if you guys
Are you
caught
saying trolls exist?
what's his name.
Heavy call volumes, and all agents are busy
Damn it.
assisting other
Yeah.
I really want to do this.
Did
Do
you
you think Lindsey
see?
Graham's at the phone?
Yeah.
I just hold on.
Just plugging things into a wall to. Man. Fraudulent call center, please hold. Fraudulent call center, please hold. Yeah, that's definitely not happened.
Corporate accounts need a speaking. Just a moment.
Yeah.
Corporate accounts need a speaking. Just a moment.
It,
Like, who thought that was a good idea?
well, the guy who doesn't know that cell phones
The
exist.
guy who. Okay. So we have to talk about. Do we think that the person who booked the Four Seasons landscaping place did it on purpose on their last day? Or was it a genuine dumb mistake?
I don't know anything about this. You'll
Okay.
have to inform me.
I think that with the speed at which it was required, somebody didn't read like the next line when they searched it. They just searched like, oh god, Four Seasons phone number. Yeah.
Okay,
But
so
they still
Matt,
went through with it.
So Giuliani shows up to a place to talk about the voter fraud issues and to say there are big problems.
Mhm.
And it's at the Four Seasons landscaping company in the middle of wherever, New Jersey or something.
Yeah.
I don't know where
Okay.
it is.
Pennsylvania, I think.
To like
Oh,
hold
yeah,
a
it's
press conference,
Pennsylvania,
or
maybe.
Yep.
They hold a press conference
okay.
at the Four Seasons landscaping.
Oh man.
And so you just know, oops, somebody misbooked or jokingly on their way out the door booked this place and said, this is where the event's at. Bye.
So
He's like,
what
"Yeah, this
happened? Did
job's
he go
over."
out there and there's no one out
They
there, or
went
what?
there. No, they had their press conference there.
Wow.
And there's like an adult store.
There's no
next
bookstore.
door.
Yeah.
And there's like a mortuary at the other side.
Well, that would work for Giuliani. That
It's
giant
like a
pervert.
Ooh.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
It could work for him in every way.
Mhm.
Uh,
I didn't.
If
I had
if it
no
wasn't a
idea.
it's just such an
Story-wise.
amazing like summation
Yeah.
of the last 4 years of like,
Yeah.
of
Perfect.
course they botched this.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
of course they did.
Yeah,
And the
someone was
Giuliani
like,
thing is
Veep couldn't
fascinating, though.
write
Did you see? Because I watched. Who watched Borat? Did you
Yeah,
guys watch it?
that
Yeah.
happen yet.
It's
I get it.
I haven't watched
fascinating.
Oh, you want to hear? So I cannot confirm this, but I had this very
phone's still
evil
going?
thought. At Are they calling you back?
My phone's still going. Shut up.
So
Come on,
so
Grandma.
I don't want to
so
talk
the
to your
scene the scene
dildos.
in the Borat second movie is Giuliani is being interviewed by Borat's quote unquote daughter, and Borat is trying to break it up because he was trying to sell his daughter to Giuliani. That's the whole point of the movie is he's trying to
She's
corrupt.
like 15, right? Is this
She's-
what they
That's
set
what
up?
she's
16.
quoted to be in the movie.
Yeah.
Set up.
She's really
Right.
23 or 24.
Oh yeah, she's
Sure,
definitely older.
the
now.
actress herself.
She's
Yeah.
in a movie where she's not wearing clothes, so yeah, she's
But
good.
the character,
The character
Yeah.
right is like 16,
No.
right? So
Mhm.
so
sorry,
somehow
Brian,
this
your
this
boner is a real problem.
Yeah. So somehow this girl convinces Giuliani with all of his handlers, let's go into my hotel room, and they're walking in there with some drinks or whatever, and then like she's kind of setting the room up, and he reaches down and he starts like playing with himself, and he said like, oh, I was tucking in my shirt. This is the evil thing, and this is, I'm going to say it because nobody's listening to us. The way to activate a penile implant is to press a button in your scrotum. That's so it's like, did he basically turn on his penis?
Does he have one of those?
I don't know, but that's all I could think of. Was like, why would you just logistically? You're with a woman in a room, and you're laying down on the
Put your helmet on, Eric.
bed. Oh, we lost Brian. He bailed. so
Yeah.
so you're laying down on a bed, and you reach into your pants and start fiddling with balls. That's not
Yeah. It's
no,
not
because then
normal.
your hands smell like your balls.
Yeah,
But
no,
if you
that's
have to
that it
turn
was
on your penis,
that's what was really, really weird about it was that he was like fiddling with himself. Oh, so there we go.
yeah,
Admit Brian.
was
And
that the NSA come? They come
yeah,
get you.
he's laying there fiddling with himself. And then I have not actually listened to his whole.
He said that
You
his mic.
haven't listened to his whole.
He said that
Yeah,
his
no,
his
yeah.
need to
mic.
listen to.
No,
He was trying to
yeah.
take off his mic pack, and when he was taking it off, his shirt became untucked. So he was tucking his shirt back in.
Like a turtle floating. That's what he looked like. He looked like a freaking turtle on his back, and he couldn't get back up.
I can't wait to listen to this one again when I'm running, and I'm trying not to
ridiculous.
fall off the
Yeah.
treadmill.
Eric, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to move you into the waiting room, and I'm going to bring you back. Don't worry.
Sorry,
You're
guys.
coming right back.
I don't know what keeps happening.
Yeah.
Agent Johnson, leave Brian alone.
All right. Let's see,
Okay,
how
I'm
do I do
trying
that?
again.
Participants.
Eric,
there
should we
go.
try? I'm gonna. Oh well,
Admit.
until Eric's back.
Okay, there we go.
No, I had that thought.
There he is.
I had that thought
The end
in one of my
number
like
2.
lucid dreaming things or like running things where you kind of like your brain just kind of escapes. And like I think it was on one of the TVs as they were showing the thing with Giuliani and the thing with Borat and all that stuff. And then my like subconscious process of like, why would you do that? That's how a penile implant works.
So another crazy thing about in the movie, which you guys should watch. I mean, it's not great, honestly. It's like
And it's definitely more
not
scripted
really.
this
Yeah,
time.
The
super-
guy who said he was retiring the character forever, and then nothing else works for him, and then
Mhm.
years later he brings back Borat.
Right.
Yeah.
Which it makes sense just from the context of the first
Politically.
movie. He's taking a dump at Trump Tower in the
Yeah.
2006 version, so it's like it makes sense that he brings it back. But
Sure.
there's a moment where he goes to a white supremacist Trump rally, and he's playing a character. He's playing Borat, playing a character, and in the movie you see it kind of like break down as if everybody like kind of revolts against him and he runs away and that's that. But in reality, what happened was there was a bunch of like Black Lives Matter and like Antifa people there, and somebody recognized him as Sacha Baron Cohen. So they tried to storm the stage where he was at. But the thing is that Sacha Baron Cohen hired security for the event. So the
Absolutely.
event security was actually his security. So they got him off the stage, but they got him back to his trailer, which was hitched up to a truck, but only in time for like people were drawing guns to potentially kill him. Like one of the security guards, like it wasn't so one of the security guys saw a guy reach for his gun, and the security guard just grabbed his hand and goes, "It's not worth it, bud. Put it away." Like that was like the level of crazy that was happening at this Trump event, to the point where they were going to kill him just because they thought that they were being duped, because they are just that stupid to like be duped by a celebrity playing a character.
Like when
That's
you
insane.
look at him, especially what was like he had a failed show recently where the level of makeup was so
Yeah,
over the top.
yeah. It was
So
like What's
if you're
Up in
saying
America or something
it's-
like that.
Right. It's
Yeah.
Borat with another level of whatever makeup where it's just so dumb looking.
Yeah,
It's
because he's
so,
like
grotesque.
6'5". He's a
Oh, it's
giant.
huge. Yeah.
Did you see
And
the
he's-
episode? I saw the episode where he went to a town in Arizona and was playing a developer who was like presenting to the town that we wanted to invest in your town. We are going to build a $30 million building that's going to bring people, it's going to bring infrastructure, it's going to bring money do you want that? And they're like, yes. And he goes, presenting the whatever the town's name is, Mega Mosque. And they all just like freaked out because they wanted to. He said that they were going to build a mosque in their town.
Yep.
And it was just like, you don't realize the racism and the fear
That's
that exists in people's
yeah.
minds until you hear real humans looking at him and like, we can't bring those brown people here. They're terrorists. It's just like, what is going on? Yeah, it's crazy. You don't realize what really exists. But the show did not do well, but he exposed some crazy, crazy stuff in that show.
Of course he did.
Yeah.
'Cause it's
Terrifying.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's So I've been watching recently, and the whole like Trump summation, that like Trump's way into politics. For me, I think it's CNN. Someone has been doing like campaigns from the past, and there was the McCain Obama
Mhm.
campaigns,
Mm-hmm.
and when McCain did like a town hall, and people in the town hall were like, this Obama guy, he's like a terrorist.
Mhm.
He's this whatever. And McCain had to take the mic from them and be like, no,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
the country
Yeah,
will
this is
not be a
classic.
wreck
Yeah.
if he is
Yeah.
the president. And he got booed.
Yeah.
And he was like, people, we disagree fundamentally. That's why I'm running against him. But he's a good American. Blah, 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 blah.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
and
It's a
so
good
he
one.
Classic
made me
human
think,
being.
now, of course, if you want to break down the words, it's still whatever. You know, what McCain is doing is pure class. He's not trying to like piss on Arabs or anyone from anywhere. You're right. But you can see in those moments where McCain took the high road, and I I don't believe it was Trump himself, but I think someone whispered in Trump's ear and said, "Hey, do the opposite, and you'll go far."
Mhm.
Oh,
And he
sure,
went,
sure.
And he did.
I will do that. I will take the low road, and it worked splendidly.
I mean, just the comment that was made, and this was the 2016 election, by the way. He said, "I will accept these election results if I win."
If I
Yeah.
win, he
It's
was
like,
already
what
planning
is
the
going
seed.
on? I mean, everything has
Right.
always been all about him, all about him, all the time. And that's the thing is like even his speech after the election was as if he was a middle of nowhere, uh,
This poor downtrodden.
guy running for mayor. Like that's what he talks like.
If
He's
only
a
he could get
fucking
one
loser of a human.
single break.
Yeah, and just the
But he
way
was
that he
never
talks,
given a break.
it's obnoxious. It's
Yeah.
just like the president's supposed to be not just a leader; he's supposed to be a representative of the people. And when you talk about, I know that like Joe Biden had to come down the middle in his acceptance, not
Of
acceptance
course
speech,
he
but
did.
that
Yeah.
His
speech.
whole campaign, his whole
And he is quite
existence.
centrist, I think, in a lot of his politics. But he did
Yeah.
say, I'm a proud Democrat, but I will lead as an American." You have heard nothing even remotely close to that kind of verbiage from the current president.
Oh yeah,
No.
it's like
You know.
I have an agenda, I'm shoving it down your throat. I
Yeah.
literally don't care if you like it or not.
Mhm.
Money
Well, it's-
now. Who cares about tomorrow?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah,
the ultimate.
Yeah.
And
Trump's
are you afraid of
yeah.
brown people?
Because I am. Except for my taco
it's
salad.
Trump's still president for what, another 10 weeks or something like that.
Yeah.
It's like the
January
COVID
5th.
thing
A
is
lot of weeks.
COVID spiking again. It's going crazy, and he's not going to do a fucking thing about it because he's just going to do his bullshit, fucking lawsuits instead. Because
They're
like,
saying he hasn't even been briefed in like a month, maybe.
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Why
He
bother?
doesn't care
It-
at all.
you know, I was around a lot of Trump supporters last weekend. I was trying really hard just to keep my mouth shut because, like, I'm not. Some of these people I still call them friends, so it's like, I'm not gonna do this.
In
Yeah.
And
Hollywood?
I had to make a couple of comments. Huh?
In Hollywood?
Huh? It wasn't Hollywood people.
Okay.
Um,
It's getting
And
worried.
one of them asked me, like, Trump has never been racist. I was like, have you ever listened to the fucking guy talk?
Mhm. And
Like,
he may not believe it
and there's
actually.
like, anyway, but
He may not believe it in his own heart, but he'll say anything he
yeah,
has to say to get ahead. And
Yeah,
that's
he's
the
shameless.
problem. Is
yeah.
it's not that racism grew under Trump. It just felt confident enough to talk about it. It felt
Right.
confident enough to rear its
Oh,
ugly
yeah.
head and show itself to be present, and that's the problem.
And you go, oh, can I zero in on this? Because I don't give a shit
Mhm.
what people think of me. What do I have to do to get the votes? This?
Historically, when you look
Great.
at conversation that he has had, that he said, if I was going to run for president, I would run as a Republican because they're dumb. That's essentially what
Yeah,
he
there's a
said,
quote. There's a famous quote about he says it
and everyone's just
almost
okay with
exactly
that.
that.
It's like you're
Yeah.
crazy,
Tim
man.
or not, but it's still, that's the sentiment. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what he's doing. He's going, and
I
he
think it
will
was on
try
like
and
Phil
run.
Donahue or something, or like on Oprah or something,
yeah,
where that clips from. It's
yeah.
really funny.
He's always been an audacious ass, and you know, when you support someone like that, it downplays your own sort of humanity in your person to create some level of support around someone who's just he represents all the things that are bad. It's funny because it's like I think that a lot of people go into the military and become police officers and first responders because I think maybe they were like picked on as a kid or they felt helpless at one point, so they wanted to help.
Mhm.
But
Not all. Just clarifying.
this
Not
No,
all
current
people.
Yeah.
no,
There's
but
a
what I'm saying is that this current president is sort of the embodiment of like the
feeding into
bully,
that.
oh sure.
of the mean person, of the bully, the one who picks on the people when they're down. And he's said horrible things about our military. He
Oh
said
yeah.
horrible things about disabled people. He's said horrible things about the things that we sort of
He's
like
gone.
yeah, exactly. That we try to lift up in this country. So it's so weird to me that so many people support him who go into the business of protecting people as their profession. It just fascinates me
Mm-hmm.
that they would
Yeah.
go that route.
That's fair.
That for
Yeah.
some reason compassion gets twisted to the point where they're just like, yeah, but here's the thing. I don't want socialism. It's like, well, last time I
Well,
checked, being a police officer is socialist. I mean, that's you're getting paid
yeah,
by taxes, right?
fundamentally.
Yeah.
But you go, well, but that's to save people, where these other people are just lazy and we're just going to throw money at them.
Well,
And
I
like,
mean,
Yeah,
I
which
fundamentally
get
is
though,
the
we
not what
fear,
it
I
really
get the
is.
sentiment of like, it's not hard to listen to someone to go, I bust my ass and I feel like all my money's taken away and it's given to someone else. So it's easy for me to
Mm,
assume that other person is lazy, blah, blah, blah. You
mm,
go, okay, fine. Sure. That's an easy answer, right?
mm,
yeah. Well, and
I
that's I
get it.
mean, I hope Paula's listening to this because she can check my civics. But we talked about this, right? That there's the two fundamental differences between the Democratic and Republican Party are the Democratic Party is the idea of like, hey, we should all chip into a system for things that we all kind of need. Yes, it sucks that there are drains on it, but for the general good. We need to do this thing. And the Republican Party will look at it and say like, I'll chip into it as soon as it affects me. I'm
mm,
not going to
Mm.
say it doesn't affect me or that it doesn't exist and affect other people, but it's like it's the welfare. Let's just pick one.
mm,
Welfare is the greatest argument because Democrats will be like, it's a system in place to help people who can't necessarily help themselves right now, but it is almost erring on the side of good, saying that like, yes, welfare sucks. We're going to make it really hard to do. People will not live on this. It will inspire them or cause them to get up. That's the Democratic idea behind welfare. We also don't want to just like cut people off and loose and say
We
walk around the streets homeless, right?
mm,
we
That's
don't
the
want to chop people off to the point where they just die on the
right.
street.
Yeah,
But
we want to
but
raise people up.
the Republican sensibility would be like, I understand what welfare is, but I'm working hard, so just work hard. and then you won't need it. It's like, no, but you still have to feed the system. No, I don't, because I'm not on welfare. So I'm not going to pay into it because I have a job. And it's like, so then people on welfare are paying into welfare. It doesn't lock in like this, but it's
Yeah.
in a more complicated version of it is governmental deregulation of environmental monitoring. The government in the Democratic Party will say, like, listen, there are chemical limits on factories. You cannot put shit in the water. We're going to monitor the bejesus out of this because of the good for all. You cannot throw mercury into Lake Michigan.
Mhm.
And the Republicans are saying, if you lock this down with with governmental regulations, you're going to decrease the efficacy of these products, which means they're going to have to start firing people because it's like a company who makes money will have the power to self-govern their own regulation, which, if you look at history, is not how that fucking works.
Yeah, to
Mhm.
think that a true free market world will they'll always make the
They'll make the
most
good decision.
moral
Yeah.
decision. You're like, what are you talking
Mhm.
about?
Yeah, like
The
the
Industrial
movie.
Revolution, uh, if it proved one thing, it proved that everyone was moral. Like, what?
Yeah, it's like the movie
No.
Right.
with shit, what's his name? Bruce Banner. Mark Ruffalo, like
Oh,
Dirty Water or something like that.
Yeah,
Uh
the recent movie. I didn't
yeah,
see it,
but it's
but
about Dow Chemical,
yeah.
how they produce Teflon, which is a fantastic product, except the way that they produced it was unregulated at the time due to the political party.
Mhm.
So they did the minimum amount of testing, but the people that were supposed to come in and test it was like a junior intern who had 50 states to monitor. So like, there's no way he's reading these reports and doing it. And they just said, like, we're making this, we're putting surprise, and the lawyers fought it as like, the movie's fantastic, but it's like, that's the direct argument of saying, like, oh, if a chemical company knows what it's doing is wrong, they'll definitely stop it. Like,
No.
not when the profits are
Yeah.
5,000%.
The
No
bottom
way.
dollar.
Yeah. Like, there's no, they will tie it up in litigation longer than it takes to kill somebody.
There's an episode of The Newsroom that I just watched. It might be the first. Is it the first episode? I think, and it follows the Deepwater Horizon
Oh,
explosion.
okay.
And what was fascinating about that, and Sorkin wrote it in. He did a great job of doing the whole, like, not historical fiction, but kind of, where they're covering an event.
Yeah.
But that was exactly what I think might have been Exxon, no, Halliburton did,
Yep.
was in order they they had regulations in place to inspect all of their oil rigs, but government regulation is that each rig has to be examined once a month or whatever.
Right.
But there
Something
were
like that.
like
Yeah.
3,000 oil rigs,
It's
and there
one
were
guy.
55
Popped up.
Yeah.
people
All over
who
the
were
place.
supposed to inspect them. So whatever the line was in the show was really what it was, where they it was like so every inspector would have to inspect 3 rigs a day, 360 days a year
Cyclically. Yeah.
in order for this to actually happen. So that's what it was. Like, they weren't going to stop digging for oil, especially in the Obama years. They're just like, we got to get going just in case we get shut down.
Which is the irony is during Obama, when it's like Obama, it's like fracking
Mm-hmm.
all these oil rigs off the Gulf. All these things popped up during Obama.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you're going to say Obama stopped all this stuff? It's like, no, it all happened under him.
It's just fear based.
Right.
But it's interesting too. So, not to make this all about me, but
We
the thing
were
is,
all
right.
You were an actor once. That's exactly what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a huge fan of capitalism. Like, it's an amazing
it
thing.
absolutely has its
Being
place.
able to
Yeah.
do what we do is a fascinating thing. But as a person who's gone into business for himself and is in a place where um, my access to healthcare is extremely expensive, like very, very expensive.
Yeah.
And the idea of having some sort of standardized and relatively affordable, healthcare is a good thing. And thank God I'm like a really healthy person, and I don't have health concerns and things like that right now.
Oh,
It's great, but I'm not in the same situation as a lot of people would be. And I
Right.
think that so as a person also who has done, I'm trying to build this side part of being like a YouTube person. If you look at the most popular and the YouTubers who are killing it right now, I'll give you two guesses at the top two countries right now. Go for it.
China and
Denmark? Where's PewDiePie from?
Sweden. Yeah, he's Swiss.
Yeah,
Or
Sweden and Canada.
Swedish. Is that really what it is?
Yeah, and the reason is
I thought
because
China would be crushing it.
well, China probably is. I don't speak Chinese.
They're on TikTok. That's
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. But the thing is, like, when you're in a system that allows for not only entrepreneurship and capitalism, but also that, okay, yeah, so 50% of my income is going back to the government. And trust me, like, I know there's intricacies and all this kind of stuff about it, but just
yes, it's
to
not a 3-point
say-
equation.
Right.
Yeah.
Just to say that if I started my business and I knew that 50% of my income was going to my healthcare and all the other things, but I get the other 50%, that makes a huge difference in how you have to regulate your, sort of, I guess, the risk reward sort of ratio. Whereas if I leave tonight and I get hit by a car, it's going to cost me a lot more money out of my pocket
You're
to get myself
dead in the
well.
water.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So-
like I went to the doctor today and like just to get general like annual blood work or whatever. And I got the receipt and I was curious. Like I paid $10. Yay. But they gave me the itemized list
Mhm.
and it was $1,500
Right, for one visit.
prior to insurance. It's like if you're a cash pay person in America,
Forget
that's
about
why
it.
that's why I mean I had this discussion and it's again, you're right. It's not a 1.123
No,
point
no,
equation.
no.
There is cyclical stuff. There are multifaceted nonsense. I was talking with a guy today and he's like, do you think some of these countries are doing better with COVID because of their healthcare? And my first answer was like, of course.
Mhm.
Of course it is, because if you have a job, which is another thing that is a part of the equation, and that job offers you insurance, and you are doing the preventative steps necessary, then you might be all right. But if you don't have one of those jobs, or if you don't have insurance, and everything is now cash pay, and you find out just getting blood work is $1,500,
Mhm.
you're gonna get COVID.
Yeah.
Like it's just,
Right.
it's like
Yeah.
if you don't have the mechanism in place to monitor this, then it's going to fall apart. And
Yeah.
circling back, this is the difference between the Democratic and the Republican group. The Democrats would be like, let's create a system that's going to give everyone a fair chance to fight this. And the Republicans are going to say, well, I'm doing a
What
good
did
job
you do?
fighting it. Why
Mhm.
why are you spending money on that stuff when you know you have to spend it on medical? Like, I'm
Yeah.
not going to pay for your medical. It's your medical, not my medical. It's your medical. And the
Right.
Democrats are like, it's our medical.
Mhm.
But
That's the
what
thing.
if your kid gets in a car wreck and is paralyzed tomorrow?
Yeah.
Now, what do you think about
Yeah.
this system that you
Well, no, and that's
love,
right.
that
And
you
that's
hold
the
dear?
thing where it's like Trump didn't give a shit about COVID until he got it.
He
And
didn't
then he got
still-
the best care
Yeah.
physically possible.
Right, right.
because he himself could get treated,
Yes.
and even he himself, in certain interviews, went, "It's a big deal. It's a pretty big deal. I didn't know how I would do."
Yeah,
But
it's like
because he had it.
I know somebody's going to release the
you
cost
go.
like
Mhm.
Mhm.
No big deal. It's fine. I was fine. It was no big deal.
well, and it's
just
that's
keep
and that's
pushing
It's
why
really good
we
Trump, man.
that's why we talked
Yeah.
about he is just like a flaming asshole,
big
is
ears.
because
Mhm.
if you get COVID and you go through that process, a decent human being says, like, I know I'm the president. I have made an error in the severity. A decent human being in any position says that.
Mhm.
What did he do? Let me just walk up the steps. I throw this piece of shit off, and I'm gonna go infect these 40 people in this room.
Yeah.
Deuces.
That's
Make everyone
that's
sick.
the
Come
thing.
on.
Like my
Going
biggest
back
problem.
to the White House. Fuck you.
You
This is the thing is like
turds.
that's my biggest issue. Like I know a lot of people that own their own businesses or have investments or whatever. I don't know, but I what I hear is a lot of people that like him. It's usually the answer I get is a money answer. It's like, well, I've made more
Mhm.
money, or
It's money.
I made so
It's
much money since I've been in office. I'm
money
like, okay,
now.
fine. But
Mhm.
my response is, okay, well, I like money. Don't get me wrong. I know you need. I know you need money doesn't buy happiness, but I know you need money to be comfortable. And if you like to buy things, whatever I said. But me as a person, I'm not. I don't believe I'm motivated by money,
Mhm.
and I want a person in the fucking White House of the of the fucking United States of America to be able to speak with class and compassion and not make fun of mentally disabled people and not downplay a pandemic. I mean, let's be real.
Mhm.
All the shit he did for the like 3.5 years of his presidency, once COVID came along, he could have easily got himself reelected if he at the very beginning he would have rose up and said, you know what, this is a problem, we need to deal with this, and been a leader
Mhm.
and tried to do right by the country and like maybe try yeah, people were, I'm not blaming COVID on him completely. Like, yeah, it was coming.
Sure.
People were gonna die. But
Right.
like he
That's
could
not
have
his fault that it came.
reacted a lot earlier, made a plan, spoke with compassion, and just be an adult for once. He would have
Yeah.
got reelected easily.
He
Mhm.
almost got reelected as is.
Yeah, it's
It's
like
true.
It
It's true.
was close.
yeah, and it's like I'm sorry, I just want someone that's not a garbage bag of waste of oxygen running the White House. Like, can you like? I was fully expecting like another country to like when we're over here just finger popping our assholes over here with this orange fucking Cheeto in the goddamn White House to show up and
That's
like
good.
invade us or something. Like,
All right.
I
In the
made
meantime,
I'm
Yeah, just
yeah
Canada pushes
I made
down
the
and says,
joke.
"We got this."
Yeah, I made the joke that the Queen's gonna show up and be like, okay, you guys are done.
you're
We
mine
let you
again.
have your
You
fun.
had your
Yeah,
chance.
Yeah.
you obviously can't handle yourself, so you're part of England. You're part of the UK
We're gonna
again. You're
take you
done.
back. Yeah, right,
Yeah,
right, right.
Oh God,
yeah,
that would be great because we could go to London whenever we wanted to. It'd be great.
yeah.
Oh, we still can.
You guys obviously
Yeah.
need supervision, but yeah, I just don't want a garbage bag in the White House. That's my main problem. It's like
Well,
we
it's
don't put children in cages. That is not
not
an
a thing.
appropriate thing to do in our freaking
But
country.
Obama set up the scenario where
But
you
no,
could.
so to that argument,
We were
which
the
is
ones that did it.
right, which is fair, but the
Does it?
problem is if he knew it was happening, did nothing.
Yeah,
An adult would have been like I said, any rational adult will be like, listen, I have found some new information, which as a private citizen, I was not privy to. I'm the president now. This is a thing that's happening. That's definitely wrong. We're gonna take a look at that and square it. And he was just like, this is good. I'm
Well,
good
no.
with this.
Stephen Miller said we have a little place where we can exploit, and let's
Yeah.
move forward hardcore.
But you know what
And
I mean,
then
though? Like,
blame it on Obama. Obama
right.
was the one.
But like I said, it's you can blaming it on something is fine. I'm not saying that like Obama didn't do some shit that we're all just kind of like, ugh.
Yeah,
But the fact that he's like
fine.
he's blaming it, not fixing it.
yeah,
Yeah.
Like by blaming it and saying like,
This is our
he did it.
excuse.
It's like
Oh.
I made the same argument when he was in the debates and he was talking about the forest fires in California and he's like, well, there's fires because the Forest Management Service doesn't have the funds. It's like that's your
Is
fault.
that federal?
yeah.
Is
Like,
that
that's
Those are
state?
federal
you,
funds,
bro.
Where's this
homie.
coming from?
Like you control the budget of the federal government. The Forest Service is part of that budget. If they lost money, that's your fault. Like
I
you
talked to
did
Norway. They don't have
it's
that
like-
problem. It's like, well, but we're here.
That's the thing. It's
What
like,
are we doing?
dude, you are the president. The buck stops with you.
Mhm.
Oh
Yeah.
no!
If
Starts
there's
and
problems in the
stops.
country,
Yeah.
guess
it
what?
stops
It's
with
ultimately
everyone else.
Mhm.
yeah, it's ultimately your fault.
right.
Jesus, man.
When I
Sorry.
when I made that
Good.
that video for Memorial Day, I just because I usually like do one,
Yeah.
because I actually think the people who have died for our country matter, unlike
Yeah,
our
call them
president.
losers.
Yeah, the
Suckers.
the I cut together some stuff from Roosevelt and from Reagan and from Obama, and it sounds ridiculous because I'm not like I don't get political. I don't get like into these kinds of things very
In your
often.
channel, you
Yeah,
try not.
but when I started cutting the Obama speech, and it was I forget what it was. I think it was Fort Bragg, and it was at oh man, I don't remember what the day was, but it was like a significant speech. Like I got emotional listening to him talk,
Oh, sure.
and it was because the
He's a
speech was well
human.
written, but he was a dignified, emotionally intelligent person. And after 4 years of this nonsense, I forgot what that felt like. I
Right.
forget what
Yeah.
it felt like to have somebody who cared not about us versus them and not about we won, they won. He
Mhm.
cared about Americans and he cared about not only his country, but about just humans, about people, and the
Yeah.
way that he spoke about people. And the thing is that I get that same sense from Joe Biden. You know, there's that whole like I totally bought into the whole like dirty Uncle Joe thing. Like I was just like, ugh, it's gross. He smells girls' hair, like this kind of thing.
Sure.
I started watching some more stuff about him. He's an unbelievably compassionate and
Yeah.
just emotional human. He kisses
He's
his own
been
sons on the face.
destroyed
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
So he just
by
is
tragedy.
so, yeah, and he's very, very loving. And he might be a
He's
little old
grandpa.
school that some things that
He's
he might have done on camera look gross. But the truth is that he's like I don't think that like it's funny to say, but there's very few politicians I could say right now who could be president who could love America more than he does. Both of his sons
Mhm.
were in Iraq and Afghanistan. One came back with unbelievable mental trauma. The other one died of cancer later. The
Yeah.
guy has given his all to the country in a way that very few people have. And I don't think that there's a lot of people who've given him that credit for the work that
Mhm.
he's done. There's a reason why Barack Obama gave him the Medal of
The
Freedom. There's
VP.
a
Yeah.
there's a reason why he's so
and that was
revered.
a surprise,
Yeah, a surprise to
right?
him exactly. And if
And
you
he was
watch that
like,
speech, he
don't do
was
it.
embarrassed and he was so loving to his family and just kind of caught off guard and um, you know, he has I mean,
He's
there's
a human.
no one can relate
He's not a
to Donald Trump.
millipede.
Yeah. You can't relate to a man like him. He's a garbage person.
Which,
And
Yeah.
like, here's the thing with Trump. Trump is
You're just
incredibly no. I'm not going to shit on him.
okay.
He is incredibly damaged.
mm,
Oh yeah.
The amount of damage that I think his father did to him,
oh yeah, for sure.
and I think the amount, like every time Trump lashes out, it's a reflection on his issues, right?
Mm,
Like the things that he goes, I can't deal with these things. Trump is so damaged, yet someone whispered in his ear and said, "Hey, this is how you get in. This is how you make it. Watch John McCain. See how John McCain was a stand-up guy?
hmm
Do the opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you hear people boo when John McCain is a human being, go that route."
Well, didn't
And
he
he
call
did it.
him a loser at one point?
Oh yeah.
Like
Oh yeah,
literally
because he
called
was a
John
prisoner of war.
McCain a loser because he was
Oh,
a prisoner of
he said,
war.
"I'm not a fan of people who get captured. I
Yeah.
think they're losers." Yeah, he did that. John McCain, who he had like a father who was admiral or something in the Navy,
I think so.
Mm,
Yeah.
and John McCain got captured, Vietnam, had the chance to, as like a press thing, get released early. Vietnam, what the Viet Cong were like, yeah, we will release him because he's the son of an admiral. And he went, if my fellow comrades are not getting released, I will not be released. I will stay. And he stayed for like another 5 years.
jeez.
5 years. until whatever, everything was done. They were all released.
Hmm.
And Donald Trump pisses on it.
Mhm.
And people go, yeah, let's piss on John McCain because he lost, because
But
he had dignity, because he could see in that moment it was the time for Obama.
Mhm. Hmm.
yeah,
No,
and
he lost because of Palin. Let's not play around
Yeah,
with that.
that was funny.
Palin,
well,
no, it was a double effort. It was him being moral and Palin. Yeah,
Oh, sure,
Palin
right.
definitely
He
paid
right. He
into it,
wasn't responding enough to
but it
the
it
criticism against George Bush and
it
being
was both of them.
friendly, right? But then
Yeah.
it's that like it's that backup of Palin who's just like,
Oh yeah.
like,
Mhm.
oh god.
And then
but
Tina Fey coming in on SNL going, I can see Russia from my house, all that
but
played
guess
into it.
what? John McCain is got the last laugh because CNN just called Arizona for Biden. We all knew it was going to happen,
Did
but
they
Oh,
they
really?
just called
officially?
it.
Nice.
Nice.
Yep.
It was up by 11,000
Something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
tonight. They called it.
Uh, yeah, but like I watched McCain's concession speech, before they had officially called Biden as the winner, but after Trump had gone in, in the press room and threw his baby fit. And it's just like, wow, that's a guy that is being dignified and cares about the country and knows that
Did they
Oh, really?
because he
officially?
loves this
Nice.
country and wants
Yep.
it to do well, he has to throw his support by the guy that just handed him his ass in the
Mhm.
election. It's like and like you said, Matt, it's like, oh, so this is how an adult talks
Mm-hmm.
in a
This is how the
presidential
big boys in the
election.
room
Yeah.
talk. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
okay, I
all
get
of
it now.
them. If you go back to any of them,
Yeah.
they keep
Everybody.
popping up on my feed on YouTube. George Bush after Obama won. Reagan. It's just like all of the speeches
Well, this one's
are
a
so
different because this is
dignified and
a this
Bush
interesting.
those are
Senior.
handoffs. Those are president-elect
Carter.
transfer. You got to watch. You got to watch McCain losing to
Oh no,
Obama.
no.
You got to watch
I mean the
Gore losing to Bush.
no. I love no. I'm talking
Gore.
about the sitting president having to, you know,
One
No, but
term.
what I'm getting
congratulate.
about,
Oh, you're talking about like because they're running against them. Oh, I gotcha. Yeah,
right? Well, not only that, but like Bush was a two-term, Obama was a two-term.
yeah.
Like these two-term presidents they call them lame duck presidents for a reason because for the last year it's like just don't blow up the country. Like
Yeah.
that's their job, right? Just don't send us into a recession.
Yeah.
So they're already. It's not like Obama didn't lose to um to Donald Trump. Obama was
Couldn't
done.
run again.
He couldn't run again. So he was literally done.
It turned out. Yeah.
President Trump has
But
now lost to Joe Biden, which is a
the
different
incumbent has
Yeah.
lost.
right, exactly. So it is a different discussion for
It has to
sure.
go back to George Herbert Walker Bush.
Yeah.
It has to go back to Jimmy Carter. It has to go back.
He was the
to,
last one term, yeah.
Yeah.
And can you
these people,
believe-
and even them, they conceded.
Mhm.
Hillary,
Well,
exactly.
if you want to make it current,
Statesman, yeah.
Hillary, the night of,
Yeah, the night of at like
the
11.
night, or
Eh.
or at minimum the next morning, early after.
Right.
She
I think it
conceded
was,
that
She was
night,
next
man.
morning.
Was
I
she?
think it was next
Maybe
morning.
next morning.
because there was still a lot of like Michigan flipping was like a surprise and like Ohio on the fence. And so they were like, especially because
The blue wall collapsed. So
right, she was
that
like,
a
I'm
shock.
not gonna call it, but we're definitely gonna talk tomorrow, kind of thing.
Yeah.
She did not like, I'm just gonna drag it on. She was like, listen,
She
if the
conceded.
trends are going, it's better for America if we just kind of settle this.
But that's not what Donald Trump's about. And the reason they love him is for that same reason. And so is he going to destroy the Republican Party now, right?
Mhm.
Is he going to tear it asunder?
Well,
Because he will go, no, those 71 million people that voted for me, not for the Republican
Oh,
Party.
true,
So
absolutely.
I will
Yeah.
tear it all apart.
but it's not his fault. It's the Republicans themselves. They've torn it apart themselves by
Sure.
putting their support behind a despicable human. They've completely ejected themselves from the conversation. Conservatives, religious, like they've all
Well,
put
it's
themselves on
It's
notice.
the religious sector. It's the religious people that really have to come to terms with this, because if you're
Mhm.
political, you go, Donald Trump was the one guy that was gonna do the thing that was unpopular, right? He was gonna actually deregulate back past Nixon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No other Republican was gonna do that.
Mhm.
Donald Trump was gonna do that. So if you're a Republican and a non-Christian, I get it. I genuinely go, yeah, I get it. You want to tear all this shit down. Whatever you think is BS,
Mm-hmm.
right? There's no global warming. The earth is not in trouble. Who cares? It's either we make money now or we're idiots. Those people going for Trump, I go, I get it. But the Christians
Mhm.
that go for him, that's a harder sell.
Super hard sell because he represents
But
everything antithetical to what being a Christian
he's kind of
would
an
be.
antichrist. He's not the antichrist. He is not the
But he's very
antichrist.
anti-Christ.
But he is
Yeah.
Yeah,
a devil. He is a devil.
yeah. It's an
And I
interesting thing.
think he feeds into all this shit.
But
All
it's
these
the
fears.
but which devil do you want? Do you want Donald Trump or do you want socialism? That's where Christians fall on the thing because
Mhm.
On
for some
in
reason
in
the
that scope of
concept of
discussion, yes.
socialism is
Criminal.
worse for some reason, and it doesn't even make
It's
sense.
terrifying. Well, no, like look, I get
But it's
that
not even a
people that go,
reality.
I work hard. I hate. Here's the thing: the people that go for
They
him
don't though.
hate their lives. I think they hate the job they have, and so they go, if I'm working at a job I hate, I don't want my money to go to someone who, in my mind, doesn't do anything.
Right.
That's what Trump is selling, right? Is I bust my ass and I hate my life. And this
Yeah.
guy over here doesn't do anything and he's getting all my money.
Hmm.
That's a really easy sell. It's not it doesn't even have to do with race. There's what do they say? 8% of black women voted for Trump. Many more black men voted for Trump. 8% of black women. That seems
I
crazy,
can't even believe
even
that
though it's
one.
only
Like not
80,
1%,
only
just one.
8%,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But because to Neeko's point, it's money now. Who cares about tomorrow?
Mhm.
Maybe tomorrow's a fraud. The Democrats are selling that tomorrow's going to be an apocalypse. What if it isn't?
That's all that.
Yeah.
That's all I hear from the
Right?
conservative side.
That's
Yeah.
Is
what
that
it
it's
is.
all an
It comes
apocalypse.
down
It's
to
coming. Here we go.
and if you're the older you are, the more you go, I've heard this talk before, it never happened. Meh.
So predictions. What's gonna happen? Is he gonna eventually decide to be an adult and concede and leave,
No.
or
What's he
at
gonna
on?
do instead?
He's gonna get
on
arrested in public and make a huge show of it, being carried out of the White House in handcuffs.
I think he's
and
gonna
I can't fucking wait to watch that.
I think he's flying out on the Marine one. That's my guess. Is that
You think
the
so?
day where he should be shaking Joe Biden's hand and welcoming him in, he's going to be on Marine one
Mhm.
I
on
would
the
I
helicopter.
would love if he
flying
did it
away.
like one day after the transition, and then we send him a bill. Like, you're a private citizen now, asshole. So here's the
Yeah,
bill
yeah,
for
so
this
here's the
military
bill.
escort.
Your thing
So
was
he
up
has
can
at
stay in the
noon.
White House
lot
for
of-
free.
He has a lot of litigation coming for him,
Oh,
which
yeah,
ultimately
it's gonna be a
is
mess.
why he will not give it
Yeah.
up.
Oh, his protection is gone.
Yeah, things are
Yeah.
not going to go well. I mean, every ex-president gets Secret Service
Yep.
to
for
protect
life.
him for life.
They
For
get
10
health
years.
insurance and get coverage for life.
But
You get Secret Service if you're in prison.
yeah, do you get that if you're in prison? I wonder.
And what's that
depends on-
reality show?
It depends on what kind of prison.
Yeah.
If we're
Hopefully,
talking,
it's
if
federal pound
well,
me
no,
in the
if,
ass.
if we're
brain
talking,
prison.
if so, in a
It's not
serious
that
moment,
prison.
if we're talking about like felony or greater, that is stripped from the president.
Hmm.
If he has to go, if he's serving time for a small
If you
something
get a
something
felony, you
something,
can't vote, right? That's
yeah,
the yeah.
right. So it gets stripped.
Yeah.
Now,
Okay.
so here's the thing: Biden could step in and pardon him, but
Please don't.
let history would dictate that as a statement he would say whatever. If Trump gets boned on stuff that occurred prior to him being president, that's when I think Biden would be like, no pardon for this.
I think Biden is stuck. I think Biden has to pardon him no matter what. And then he will
I'll tell you what,
start a news organization
4 years from
and he
now,
will piss all over the place and he
elect
will
me, I
run as
won't
an
pardon
independent.
Trump. No, if I was Joe Biden, that would be my
2024 Trump independent.
number one thing right away is if
Ugh.
Trump got serious heat thrown on him to the point where it was like, we're talking 20 years, he's 70 something, so life in prison means nothing. But if it was like, we're gonna freeze and burn your assets, you profited while in the office of the president, which is borderline treason, I'm not gonna hang you in the public square, but you're fucked, and I'm
But-
definitely not gonna pardon you for it,
Mhm.
because there's the whole shoot, what's it called? It's called like the unified.
Emoluments.
No. It's part of the Article 2, which is like the unified equity or some shit like that, where it's basically anything you do at the president is not illegal because you are the president. Which then it's like it's
What
it's
Nixon
unified
tried to
theory.
make.
Yeah. Well, Nixon did it. Bush did it with Cheney. It's basically it's a very Republican idea of when acting as the role of president, you cannot be wrong because the president is the one who dictates right and wrong.
President is the ultimate say.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like, I if he gets dinged for stuff that he did under that tone, that's a Supreme Court type thing for years. But if it's something outside of like war profiteering, which there was no wars, but if he profited it in the role, because he's supposed to surrender his,
Thank God he's a pussy. Thank God.
and he can
Right.
grab himself.
Seriously. Thank
Yeah.
God he's
Yeah.
a pussy.
But he, if as
Mhm.
president, you are supposed to relinquish all of your financial holdings, and you can do it through partnerships. You can do it. He gave it to all his kids or whatever. But if anybody can paper trail that back, that Trump did not do that, prison. Like that's a like you go to
Mhm.
prison for that. It's a felony.
Yeah, but someone still has to push that on him.
Well, no, right?
And,
And like I said, and the
he's
person, it would
still
be
the
the attorney
guy who
general.
got
Yeah.
71 million votes.
Right.
in
It would be the
America.
attorney general of the United States that would have to go backtrack the data and do it. But
No
whoever is
one's
going to
doing
be the
that to
newly
him.
appointed attorney general is definitely not going to go down that road.
Mhm.
Yeah,
They've got so many
exactly.
other things to worry about. They're not going to do it.
Yeah. And again, because he has 71 million Americans, that are 71 million Americans going to push that hard? No.
No.
But what, 40, 30 million? How many millions
Yeah.
to where people go, can he, how
They
do
just
we
keep
just
bringing
make
it
him
up,
go
yeah.
away?
Yeah. The one thing
And
that
he
he
won't.
yeah,
He
the
will
one thing
not
that he
go
can
away.
never escape from though is the fact that he is one of the very few rare presidents that was impeached while in office.
He doesn't care.
And he's a one-term
That
president.
takes shame.
Mhm.
He has no shame.
Well, no, but it
He
will
doesn't
be
care.
it'll be one of those things where like it's a Jeopardy question. Rest in peace, Alex.
Oh
Trebek.
yeah.
It is going to be
50 years from now.
Mhm.
But right now,
oh
he's
sure.
got 71 million people that voted for him.
Oh,
and
if he said I just need
he
you all
will
to send me
start-
$1 and he's got $70 million.
Exactly. So here's the thing he's going to do. He's going to start a news corp, Trump News or Trump Channel, right? He's going to try and fuck Fox News because they
Yeah.
weren't supportive enough to him. He's going to start that, and then he's going to run for 2024. And he's probably going to be
Wow.
the number one candidate
Independent.
for 2024. And he's not going to go away because until he dies, he will not go away. And I am not the crazy person. I'm not the crazy liberal. I'm the person that's going, he is just
Just like,
not going
ugh.
to go away.
That's the one
Yeah.
downside of the one term is
Just
that yeah, he can
won't
circle back around. Yeah.
Go and he'll run as independent. My only hope is that he will crush the Republican Party because he will say, those 71 million votes are for me. Screw you. I don't care about the
Mm-mm.
Republican Party. You betrayed me. I want them, and everything will fall apart.
Oh, so he runs as like like his own political party, and then
Mm,
it pulls votes from the Republican candidate,
maybe
kind of like
because
Kanye
the
getting 100,000
Republicans,
votes.
the Republicans are stuck.
Oh
They're
yeah,
stuck. They don't know what to do with him. Like in Massachusetts, we have a rare governor who can say, "Screw this guy." That's rare. That's a
yeah,
very rare. The
yeah. But
Republicans are screwed.
we're
with
gonna
him.
find out in 2 years who the Republican Party is
Yeah,
hitching their
yeah,
saddle to.
yeah.
So
And they
Mhm.
love him. They love Donald Trump
well,
because
they
he's the
love it
devil.
because the other party members can do some really shady crap and get away with it because all the attention is on him. Like
Yep.
there's if you watch John Oliver, he talks about all the really shady crap that happened under Trump's watch because everyone was watching Trump.
Hmm.
Like the attorney general got off with some shit. Like Giuliani's getting away with shit. There's senators and and congressmen that are just doing this insane nonsense and just fully getting away from it because everyone's like they're doing the but what about like but did you hear what Trump did today? And it's
Well,
like oh, and then all the
that's
attention is laser beamed over. It's like
yeah.
you only get one.
Just
Might be,
we're stingy about our
Hail
sneezes.
Satan.
might need
Was-
5.
Whoa, there it is. Wait.
It's the hops.
Yeah. Well, it should be a triple. There should be no hops in there. Well, there's hops.
2
but-
of these.
Yeah, you
ladies and
did.
gentlemen.
Are those 750s? How much beer is in there? 750 milliliters? Take your time, please.
I think so.
Yeah, I can't tell from your camera if it's a big bottle or a little
It's a
bottle.
magnum.
It's a pretty big.
It's
bottle.
a growler.
Well, Kanye got 60,000 votes. 60,000.
I love Colorado. Let me just say, I told you a couple weeks ago that I have
Love it too.
a work associate who's a newly
Nice.
naturalized citizen, got to vote in his first election, was super excited. So we've been talking about the process and all that stuff.
Oh, how bummed out is he now?
Oh, he's stoked. He's
Yeah.
super excited.
Loves
But
it.
he laughed because we were going state by state. We were doing some correlation type stuff. And I said, I have to show you Colorado. This is great. So we pull up Colorado, just the presidential race. There was like 23 candidates in
Oh yeah,
Colorado
it was a
Really?
for
big
president.
ballot.
It's
For
insane.
president?
For
Oh
president,
yeah,
just
dude,
for
I got my
president.
ballot and I rolled it out and it was like fluke, 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 fluke.
Do you
It
have
just
the
kept
guy
on
that wears the
going.
boot on his
It's
head?
basically anybody
No, it's
who
not like
gets
that.
the signatures gets to be on the
Why
ballot.
not?
It's bonkers.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just
How many
it's so.
signatures? 10,000.
5. I don't know.
You see
Not a
like
lot.
12.
Yeah. You got to drink 2 bombers of beer.
That's what
and you're
what it
in.
appears to be.
Yeah.
But we laughed. He's like, "How is this good politics?" I was like, "Well, there's a good argument for both sides of it.
Yeah.
The first argument is that it does allow for representation of people in different parties. The bad side is it means it's going to thin the blood of the top
Whatever.
thing." And he's like,
thing.
he's like, "Well, how do you know that?" It's like, "Well, let me tell you about a little state called Florida."
Mhm.
And
And our
and
friend
12
named Chad.
or- yeah, like 16 years ago when
Ancient.
Ralph Nader was making a very hard push for the Green Party, which at the time I was like, this is a good idea until I became more familiar with statistics, math, and how that works. That, yeah, if you're a third party, it's not like there's an even split of third party between the two existing parties. It's definitely a third party leaning very hard to one side,
Because
which then
it's not
super dilutes
ranked
one side.
choice voting.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So like it's not like it's the third party is not an even split of
Right.
it's like if this is the two parties, you introduce the third party,
You
you
vote for
immediately
this
cut
or
this one
that
in half.
or the other thing.
Well, in
It's
a
just-
lot of ways, the
it's just
third
like the
party did
Oscars.
help the the Democratic candidate this year, and there's a lot of. I think that it would be amazing if there was a viable third party option, but there just isn't, and there never
But there
will be.
can be. If
We'd have to-
there's
we'd have to
ranked
rewrite the
choice
whole- yeah.
voting.
Yeah. You'd have to rewrite the whole
Every
election
state
process with ranked choice.
Did ranked choice voting?
Yeah.
Mhm.
We could have 10 we could have 20 parties, and
Yeah.
still the number
Yeah.
2 or the number 3 would be the main person. So you go, okay, fine. Your wackadoodle guy that you voted for first.
Boothead.
Yeah, Boothead didn't win, but
Boothead McGee.
Boothead.
number 3 is Joe
Love him, he's
Biden.
great.
So we went to Joe Biden.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a great
It would
CGP
work.
grade does a great thing on the ranked choice voting system and how it would flux out in the
It
United
didn't-
States.
It didn't pass in Massachusetts.
I get that.
Blows my mind.
Hmm.
That surprised
It
me.
blows.
Oh, because you guys
it
are like,
did
I'm gonna do what I
it
want.
genuinely surprised me
Yeah.
that I would have thought that ranked choice voting would have passed unanimously, and it lost like 63 to whatever.
Well, I think the reason is
Wow.
because like with ranked choice, you can choose to leave it blank, but some people are like, I'm definitely not going to choose my candidate as my 1 and then have to write that other person's name as 2.
Oh my god, that's the only way out of 2 parties.
Yeah, no, absolutely. At this day and age, 100 million 50
Does
or a
that
zombie
exist
apocalypse.
in another country?
No, it's a
Hell
it's
to
a
do.
statistical exercise. It's
Mm.
to my knowledge,
It's our
It
only
does-
way out of where
yeah.
we are now.
I don't think it actively exists. And I think some
Mhm.
places in like England might do it for like their like House of Lords or something. I don't know,
Mhm.
but because it's not it's used somewhere
Mm.
because it exists and it's become an argument. It's kind of like universal health care. It's somewhere, which means we can argue about it now. I just
I-
don't know the answer to it.
And so
Ooh, fire alarm.
to deviate just a touch, I noticed my chair.
Was that your chair? Oh, it sounded like a
I'm
smoke
trying to make
detector.
it do it. Yeah, it sounded the same.
How you
pitch.
doing, Brian? Do you need to leave? Do you need to edit? How you doing?
Yeah.
You can
No,
run
I'm
away if
good.
you need
Good.
to.
Yeah,
Are you
you're
okay?
good.
Okay.
Just to say
I'm
that
just not very smart, so I don't.
watch
I don't have
your
much to contribute.
I'm an
Smart.
idiot.
I
I'm
just
an
talk
idiot.
really
Brilliant.
loud and fast. I'm not that smart.
if I just talk loud and say, "Where is the
Fire
bathroom?"
it up! Fire it up!
Watching
He loves a
the
crow.
the acceptance, we'll call it acceptance for now, because it really
The
was.
Biden
Yeah,
speech.
but watching Kamala
A human?
speak, I was watching her speak, and I hope I'm right about this, but watching her talk, I just said, I was like, this is the next president. Like, or a president. She
I told
has
you my theory,
it-
didn't
the
I?
distinguished,
Moving
yeah.
To the future.
She has the right everything.
Yeah.
And again, she's also very centrist. Like, people don't realize that she and Joe Biden are probably like the 2 most center left wing, people that we've got there.
Progressives don't
Yeah,
like
very, very, very
either
much
of
so.
them.
And she was not a huge fan of his, just
Yeah.
6 months, 8 months ago.
She called him a racist.
So it's like
Yeah.
it's interesting, but just watching her stand there, I was like, oh, cool. That's probably the next president, and it might be a thing. I mean, I don't think that he would just immediately concede. I'm sure there's rules there, but
There isn't. That's the beauty.
No?
That's the best.
He can
part.
just quit.
Could.
he can just
He
say,
could.
I'm done.
He
I
could
think
be
he's
like,
all
I,
in.
Joe Biden, promised to defend the United States of America, da da da. And then she gets up, I, Kamala Harris, da 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 da. He gets in, gets some business cards, and says, I'm done here. And he can resign the next
Yeah.
day.
That's true. That's true.
Yep.
Yeah, I think he'll do at least.
He'll go for 4 years.
Yeah, he'll go for
but,
4.
yeah.
That would be
at
that would
least.
be just like
Yeah.
straight
Unless something happens.
baller.
But it's
It
interesting,
would
isn't
be.
it, that the very
It'd be
first
funny.
time that a woman was on the I think it was the Democratic, was it Walter Mondale? Forget, but
There's
it's
been
been
women
40
before,
years.
With,
40 years since the first one that was actually like a viable option.
Yeah.
So it took us 40 years which is our lifetime, to actually have a woman in the White House that's not
to
a
have
lady.
it happen.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
right,
not a
right,
first or second lady.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy town. But if you're talking about the whole history of the United States, we've only had 2 not white people. And not to mention that I don't
No,
like
white
this.
guys.
I get very annoyed unnecessarily when people are like, she's the first black woman vice president. It's like, nope, she's not.
Well,
Let's be real about who people are. You know, she's
Oh, sure, I got you.
Jamaican
Yeah.
and Indian,
It's a
and
giant.
that's her. That's where
Yeah.
her descent is, and I think that we should be proud of that. That
Right.
Mm-hmm.
from
100%. And
Jamaica,
she
which
said
is
it.
a
Yeah.
very prominent part of our history, and India. I mean, good lord, like India, like to me is a majestic country, but
Indian
it's
mother.
yeah,
Yeah, her
Yeah.
mom's Indian.
and so she is the perfect representation of what the United States truly is this amalgamation of human beings that she's actually technically first generation too. So she's the daughter of immigrants to the United States, and now she's the vice president and probably president someday. It's like it's freaking amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It's it's an amazing moment, and it's being overshadowed by this piece of shit that can't
Yeah.
just be okay with the process.
Oh yeah, they made
Well,
Just can't be a
zero press
man.
coverage of Kamala Harris other than the announcement. But like they made the announcement, a couple of stickers and posters went up, but then there was no like conjecture on CNN or like, well, what is she gonna do? Like it was just radio silence on the
Mm,
on this possibility.
yeah,
And it's not because like Palin paved the way for a female vice. It's not like that at all. It's just Cheeto Head is such a magnet for dog shit
mm,
that we can't not
that
apply all the attention there.
have to say she will not have a say. She is just in the room and she will give her opinion, but that's all. Don't worry, folks. This
Oh, yeah.
crazy half Indian, half Jamaican person. Don't worry, she's not going to call the shots because that would be crazy,
Yes,
right?
that could be a Dick
Mhm.
Cheney.
That is terrifying to I don't know, 60 whatever the split is. 40% of America.
give or take.
It's good stuff.
I
Terrifying.
don't know, man. It's interesting. It's great. We're in a great place. And
Yeah,
I'm
nothing's
just
gonna
I'm
change,
just
but-
excited to be like I just want to move forward because right,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
I made this joke years ago that you can almost tell when somebody unplugs the teleprompter in front of President Trump
Right.
because he'll have like 5 minutes of like a sentence, like thought, and then somebody turns off the teleprompter and it goes off the rails and it goes
Mhm.
deep off the rails to the point where words are coming out but they're not even registering in his head, so much to the fact that like a week later he will directly contradict himself,
Right.
but then convince you that you're incorrect about the contradiction.
Right.
Farts, poop, diarrhea. I don't know what I'm saying. But you're all registered. And all of his people go,
Yeah.
Diarrhea.
But, like,
I get that too.
You know, as like a final thought, at least for me to this, like, you know, I felt a weight of relief when they called Biden, and then they show all these footage of like all these people, these crowds, which granted wasn't the smartest thing COVID wise, but
Right.
are like cheering in the streets, and you could I heard it in LA,
Yeah.
people honking and cheering. It's
Mhm.
like, you know, as if we just ousted a dictator.
Right.
You know, it's like,
That's what it
La
felt like.
revolution.
doesn't that
Mhm.
make even, you know, some of the people that vote over Trump? No, but doesn't it make some of the people that maybe still are somewhat reasonable, like, doesn't that make you think?
It
Especially
should.
him. It's like these citizens are dancing in the street because you just lost. Like,
Mhm.
dude, we don't want you, man. Like, yeah, he got 71 million votes, but Biden got what, 74. So
Yeah.
the majority of the people in this country don't want you. Like,
Mhm.
Well, that
Just
shouldn't be
be
so
a
much of a
frickin'
shocker because he didn't get the popular vote last time either.
yeah.
Right.
And some of the people I know that are Trump supporters are like, we should do away with the electoral college system. I was like, that's a discussion, but if you want to, go right ahead. Guess what?
the
Biden still
meantime.
won.
Well, no. So
Yeah.
here's the kicker. Like, if you do dump that, all the majority population centers usually vote Democrat.
Yeah.
It's
New
the same.
York,
We talked about this. It's the
yeah.
same reason the electoral college exists to begin with, is because when they set up with the 13 colonies, if you won New York in
Right.
popular vote,
Right.
you're the president. That's how it works.
Yeah.
So they were
Yeah.
like, "This we can't do this. Like, that's definitely not how this has to work." So that's why it exists. And I love people. It's one of those things like people are like, we need to dump the college. Like, all right, well, let's do it this other way. And it's like, if we dump the college, this other guy still wins. It's like you can't choose to dump a system to make it fit your system so your guy wins.
Yeah.
That's not how
Yeah.
it works, man.
At
Yeah.
this point in time, it would make sense to go
I don't
popular
think
vote.
so.
I
I
think
don't
it could.
think so.
I mean, 74 million to 71 or 72, almost 70. Like we're talking about like 3 million votes difference. I mean, I think it's really 6 of one and half a dozen of the other, really still. But it wouldn't make, I don't think it would make a huge difference.
I mean, you'd have to somebody would have to go do historical research. I don't know.
Mm.
See, the other thing too is like if you went away with popular vote, I would wonder if like North Dakota would just say fuck it and not vote.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like they're already borderline doing that anyway because they're like we have 4 electoral like yeehaw like
Mm-hmm.
you don't even need us. Like you're not even
Yeah.
in like the big calculation. We're just like padding on the end.
Yeah.
So I don't even know if maybe at the end of it they just be like, well, screw it. Like voter turnout my prediction would be voter turnout would just tank, and then you would just get like
See,
horseshit
I don't think
representation.
so. I don't think people know enough about what their vote really means either way.
Right, but I think that they would.
People who care will vote whether it's popular or electoral. I really think they would do that. People who care.
Right, I think you would get the middle and
Yeah.
lower end would.
I
just
don't
be
think
like,
there's
I'm
any
not good.
reason to live in North Dakota anyway. So move,
Mhm.
go live somewhere.
Minot, North Dakota is actually a huge tech center. They did
Yeah,
a really hard.
yeah.
They did a really
I've
good
been
job.
to
Like,
Bismarck. I've been all
Yeah.
over North Dakota. It's a shithole. Like, don't live there. Live somewhere else for sure. It's
Yeah.
awful.
Canada,
Yeah.
you can have it.
It's cold. It's bleak. It's disgusting. Yeah.
What
Wow.
about South Dakota?
Well, what do you
South
guys
Dakota's
think
even
is
worse. It's,
That's where Fargo.
the South Dakota is where North Dakota takes its dumps. It's terrible.
Wow.
Yeah, it's.
Oh,
an
we
awful
lost a
state.
listener. We must have
Yeah,
put
sorry.
in North Dakota.
well, what do you guys think? Because I've heard, mainly Trump supporters that I've told me this is, oh, you should only be able to vote on election day, and all the votes need to be counted that day. And my
Mhm.
response to that is, there was more votes in this election than there has ever been before.
Donald Trump got the most votes any Republican has ever gotten.
Yeah,
Right?
Right.
and it's just like,
71 million.
so what? So for one, if they would have done it to where everyone had to vote on election day, there was no mail in, no nothing. You had to go on election day, and if you didn't, you can't vote. For one, I mean, that's making it so people can't vote, and that's not
It's
cool.
inviting suppression. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's inviting suppression. And the second of it is because there were so many votes this time, it still stands to reason that they probably wouldn't have been able to get it all counted in one day. And the only reason you're pissed off is because it looked like Trump was winning, but majority of Democrats voted by mail, absentee, whatever, and it pushed him ahead. So it's like, your argument makes no fucking sense.
Well, here's the thing. If
Exactly.
Pennsylvania, if Georgia, if a handful of states said, we are going to count mail-in ballots first,
Yeah.
then here is the full picture of this election. Joe Biden gets out to a giant lead. Oh,
Mhm.
but Donald Trump is catching up. Can he do it? Oh, he didn't quite do it. Right? It's a completely different story, but it's the same scenario.
The
It's
outcome
the
is the
same
same,
number of votes.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
doesn't change anything. It's just our perception.
Well, the perception too is different because of the sample size. Like Colorado's been a vote by mail state for a long time.
Yep.
And no one's had any problem with it here. And
Yeah,
so
exactly.
we've been doing vote by mail, absentee,
Every
not even
vote by
absentee.
mail
It's just like it's
state.
just vote by mail. Like I don't think that the voting process should succumb to some sort of like, oh, we got to keep it paper or in person. It's like, no, we should. I mean, if we can find a secure way
Making
to
it-
vote by, by computer, by internet, like we should do that. Like there's a billion ways to do it because all of our money is online. I haven't seen a single dollar in real life in a long time. It's just how life is. So
Wallet.
it can be done. But the
Right.
thing is that people don't realize, like LA, like I know some people, some friends in LA who were just like fascinated by the vote by mail scenario. Like, well, I've been doing this like this for a long time
Right.
here.
Why is this different?
It's not new or normal. It's the same as casting your vote before. And also, which is it's funny because there's a lot of people say a lot of things about how long this election took, and oh, we didn't know for 4 days or whatever. It's like
Amateur hour.
I was in China in 2000, and or what was
The Gore Bush.
yeah, during the Gore Bush election. And I remember like walking the streets of China and they're like, "You American?" I was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." "Oh, you have president yet?" Like, not yet. I don't think so. I mean, this was in December
Yeah.
or something. You know, it was like bonkers. It took
It took
forever.
forever.
Yeah. So this
Hanging
is normal.
chads.
And I think that I would rather
Well, it
500
it
ended
take a long
votes.
January, didn't
time.
it?
Yeah. I would rather it take a long time. You want the right
Yeah.
you want the right thing? Like, you can't count all the votes. Like the whole thing where in Trump's speech at the end of the election day, it was like, we're not going to
With
allow,
speech.
we don't want some random votes coming in at 4 a.m. in the morning. It's like, bro, that's not even how it works, man. Like, that's
Right.
just not even
Yeah.
a thing. We've got
This
dedicated,
vote didn't come in. It's
hardworking,
just when people are counting it.
yeah, these
It's been
people
sitting
who are
on a
Nothing to do
ballot
when
till
it
sacrificing
people got
came
so.
in.
themselves to
Well, my
count these
favorite part
votes.
about him
You
going on a rant about stopping the count and all that fun stuff, it's like, all right, fine, let's put a pin
Let's
in it and
stop. Let's
say,
done.
let's stop it. It's like Biden wins because
Yeah.
he had Nevada. All
At
he
every
needed was
point.
Nevada.
Yeah, Wisconsin, Michigan are one then, right?
Yep.
Mhm.
We're gonna stop the vote.
Done.
Great. Arizona, which you might win ultimately, let's stop the vote. Biden wins.
Yep. Nevada.
Like,
Yeah, he cleaned up.
if you're gonna stop the vote early, Biden wins.
But that's
Yeah,
basically
that's
the
what was.
point, though. The whole thing, though, is that he is and was calling for something that is so unbelievably unconstitutional and
Well, it's borderline
anti-American
illegal.
and
Yeah.
illegal that it's just like people are just not even bothering with the idea that he is the most unpatriotic and most un-American American you could ever ask for, let alone a president. It's bonkers.
No, but they voted for him.
But he tells it like it is, right? So there's that.
Well, yeah, and we said it too.
Yeah.
Like it's the
He's the devil.
he unfortunately
He's the devil.
represents America, parts of America.
He does. Well,
It's not a myth or a mistake. Like he represents actual people who we may not see his point of view, but somebody out there is like, I'm 1-to-1 with everything you say.
people that were fed
Yeah.
up. And again, I pointed out that John McCain reference because John McCain said, "I'm going to be better than this."
Yeah.
And somebody, or Trump, maybe Trump, I don't think it was Trump, somebody watched it and said, let's rewind that moment. And what if John McCain said, yeah, Obama is a freaking anti-American Muslim?
Oh, sure.
And
It's
it
not our
worked-
problem anymore.
It worked
Yeah, you don't have to
wonderfully.
worry about that
It
anymore.
worked wonderfully
Yeah.
because it plays into every fear. It plays into every uncle at the end of the bar going, you know what's wrong with America?
Mm-hmm.
Blah and blah. And all these people that don't want to work. And it's every preconception that's been baked in for decades.
Yeah.
And so you can blame Fox News, but it's like, this is even pre-Fox News. People were saying this before Fox News. Fox News tapped into it.
It's called the South.
And even now, Trump is going to say, screw Fox News. They're not far enough. I'm going to start my own network that's going to
I love that he's going to
crash
do that, but I really
Fox
want to
News.
know, like, if he's so broke, like where's this money gonna come from, man?
Right.
And
Uh,
that's what
how
he's gonna
many
get
people?
investigated on.
How many people have sent money into the revote?
Oh, sure. Yeah. People are
Right?
stupid, man. There was,
And then there's a fine print that says, "Well, this money can go towards the campaign in any way we
Yeah.
see
Pay off
fit."
campaign debt.
no, there was shoot, I just read it. There was
Ugh,
a campaign fund that went up that people were sending money to, and it literally said in the line item, this it was called like the Patriots of America vote Donald Trump campaign or something like that. But the line item was, you are giving money which is ultimately paying for the removal of Donald Trump election materials, meaning taking down signs.
Hmm.
And it got something like $40 million
Hmm.
overnight.
overnight, right?
Yeah, it's people are dumb. Stop being dumb, people.
Good luck with that.
Well, no, and it sounds really terrible too, because like we had the October shooting out here in Las Vegas at the concert grounds,
Yeah.
and there was a GoFundMe that went up to support victims of the shooting. There's no legal obligation for them to turn that money over.
Right.
Mhm.
Where's that money go?
It, I'll put it this way: the victims didn't get any of that money,
Right.
Shocking.
and it made a couple of commas,
Hmm.
and it's that kind of thing where like, I'm just gonna throw money at this, and I support it. I gave money and
Right.
supported. Like, you're dumb.
This feels in the moment correct. It's
Right.
the same reason why COVID is hard for Americans to buy into because it's so prolonged.
Yeah.
It's such a long thing. Is how many months and years do we have to think about this thing, as opposed to a moment where the right, fundraiser comes along
Yeah.
at a tragedy where it can grab a bunch of money and disappear, and people go, "Oh, okay,
Mhm.
I gave money, and there we go."
Yeah.
I'll assume it goes to the right place. Where like COVID, 230, 40,000
Thousand.
people at this
Yeah.
point. Yeah, 1,000 people have died, and we're like, "Oh, it's so slow. Who cares? Do we still
Only want
have
to
to
wear
give
a
money to this?
mask.
Oh, it's a fraud. I feel like this is a fraud. This must be a Democrat fraud."
Mm-hmm.
There's a part of me that was like, I want the Darwin to kick in and be like,
Mhm.
you know what? You're right. You have the right and freedom to do whatever the hell you want. And I'm going to take
If
the
that was the
Republican stance
case,
and be
right.
like, if you end up in the hospital, I'm not fucking paying for it.
Yeah.
Tough titties, right? You
So you
didn't
should have
care.
planned for that. If you don't, it's not a real thing.
You didn't take it
Pull
seriously.
yourself up by your bootstraps.
That should be
But-
the tagline. COVID, tough titties.
Seriously.
Right.
.com.
No,
All
and
right, folks.
it's super bad.
Oh,
but
I was gonna wrap
No,
it up. Ready to wrap it up?
It's a
All
wrap. We
right,
got
all right,
Hour.
everybody. Thanks for
deep.
listening.
Sorry, everybody.
To the podcast. This was the most wackadoodle one we've done.
The longest
All right,
one.
find us on Apple, Spotify, and anywhere you find your podcast. smokinghotnerds.com. That's not really a thing. Sponsored by Zima. Oh, I didn't do
What's
our other sponsor. I'll do it next week.
What's the other one?
We got a new
What
sponsor.
are we doing next week?
I don't know. We'll find out.
I have